have this advice for keeping cool.
Drink lots of water, keep yourself hydrated. If you feel sick, get out of the sun.
It's a neck cooler. My AC doesn't work in my car currently, so I roll both windows all the way down, turn the tunes on, and run that around my neck to keep me cool.
According to Extreme Weather Watch, the coldest it's ever been on June 12th in Salt Lake City was 38 degrees in 2001. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A group of Russian military warships entered the Caribbean this morning. They're taking part in military drills near Havana, Cuba today. The U.S. says the drills are not considered a threat, but the military has deployed a group of warships to the region to shadow the Russian exercises. Your money at this moment. The Dow is up 168 right now. We're at 38,916. Coming up, yes, it's going to be hot, 100 degrees today and tomorrow. We'll check KSL weather next. KSL News Time, 9:02. You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails with feedback from customers. Here's one. Dear Dan, I just had the best experience ever. I bought a computer from Shane at your State Street store. I asked several what I thought were really stupid questions. Shane was super courteous and made me feel comfortable through the whole process. People need to understand how important it is to support a local company, especially when your experience is so good. PC Laptops really does love me. Signed, Satisfied. I love hearing feedback like that. It really just gives me the chills. It's the whole reason why I got into the computer business in the first place. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop, and they start at only $29 a month. And it comes with a lifetime warranty. That means if anything goes wrong, we're going to take care of you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. At PC Laptops, we really do love you.
My name is J.R. Bird. As mayor of Roosevelt, I increased transparency, led the charge to pass term limits, and kept taxes low. As your congressman, I will leverage my experience in the energy sector to champion energy independence and dominance. I'm determined to defend the unborn, secure our borders, uphold our Second Amendment rights, and bring the same level of transparency that we've upheld locally. I hope to earn your support.
Paid for by Bird for Congress.
Ready to wake up in a new destination nearly every day with Norwegian Cruise Line? Book today to get 70% off second guest to Alaska, Europe, and beyond. Plus, everyone can enjoy their vacation with free unlimited open bar, free specialty dining, and more. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Offer ends soon. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA. Restrictions apply.
The rest of my life gonna start today.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and I can speak with some authority about two things. One is Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I am an aficionado. I'll just put it that way. And then, of course, I can speak about Father's Day, being a father myself. Now, the magic thing is to combine the two. Father's Day and Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Trust me, dear old dad is going to love whatever is awaiting him at Ruth's Chris. Now, most of us dads, we go for the steak. For me, it's ribeye. And nobody prepares a steak perfectly, just the way that Ruth's Chris does. But it doesn't stop with that main entree. It goes on to the side dishes, the desserts, the great waitstaff that gives you the very best service. And always save room for the desserts. My personal favorite, it's bread pudding. What can I say? Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, the perfect place for Father's Day. Hotel Park City and downtown Salt Lake City.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
We've got a new crash in Utah County. This is northbound I-15 as you approach the Pleasant Grove exit. All the vehicles are over on the right shoulder, but it is slowing things down through the Linden area. And as you continue northbound, you'll hit that stop-and-go traffic just after SR 92 in Lehigh, all the way over the point of the mountain, almost to Bangerter Highway. And then we've got a new crash reported on 3900 South, 500 West and South Salt Lake. Emergency vehicles have not yet arrived on scene. Is the IRS harassing you? Are tax problems ruining your life? Let Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox help. Visit taxhelput.com. That's taxhelput.com. I'm Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We could hit triple digits today and tomorrow. The heat will stick around through Friday, but we'll start to cool down a little on Saturday. Right now it's 81 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Very, very important announcement coming our way at 11 o'clock this morning when we expect the IOC Executive Committee to make a very big decision about Utah's future when it comes to the 2034 Winter Olympic Games.
Is it just me? Am I the only one that is waiting for the other shoe to drop? Everything has moved along so swimmingly, so wonderfully. Everything's been easy and great. I guess I'm just feeling a little nervous. Because there's still a chance, not a big chance, but there's still a chance that the Olympics doesn't end up in Utah.
Okay, Debbie Downer.
Very, very small chance. All right, it's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
So this announcement that's coming at 11 o'clock today, we are going to try to take it live. And it's happening in another country, but we're going to try to take you there live. It is the IOC Executive Committee expecting to advance Utah's bid to the full International Olympic Committee. I feel like they're breadcrumbing us here. It's like, a little bit here, a little bit there. And the final vote comes on Pioneer Day. I mean, they obviously knew it's a big day for Utah, so they're just going to announce it on Pioneer Day during the parade, before the parade. But this is staggering to me, Dave. 80% of Utahns who were asked, they want the games to come back to Utah.
79% of Utahns are excited for the Olympics to come back. 79%.
You say they're breadcrumbing us. I see it as if we're baking a loaf of bread, and like this month, we're going to bring out the flour. And then next month, we're going to bring out the water. And then a month later, it's going to be the yeast. It's the slowest process in history. Just say, we love you guys. You're in.
Countdown. 2.
In our 10 o'clock hour today, a political candidate in a race for county commission and the comments that he made that were caught on an audio recording by the county. At issue was the debate about a sweeping ban on apartments and duplexes, townhomes, traditionally less expensive homes across Box Elder County. Here's part of what Republican Steve Zollinger said.
But I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of Koreans or Mexicans or whoever,
Yikes. I mean, that was hard to listen to. We don't want an area of Koreans and Mexicans. How does that come out of your mouth? That's brutal. So is racism behind these big bans where they say no townhomes, no condos, no apartment complexes? Debbie, this is a great, important story that you were able to uncover.
Launch countdown. 1.
Welcome to the new downtown Salt Lake City. The vision is starting to take shape, Dave. Let me bounce a few things off of you. How about an underground road right outside Broadcast House, right in front of the Delta Center?
Here's a tunnel. Enjoy it.
Dave's all into the big Jumbotron they want to put out there.
Love the Jumbotron.
How about some new housing?
Okay.
We need that, don't we?
That might be a little pricey.
Yeah.
Brand new housing in downtown, like the hottest part of the entire district of the city.
How about hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money?
Is the tax increase a done deal?
No.
That is a big revelation. Make sure that you understand that. Is the tax increase a done deal? Smith Entertainment says no. I will tell you why that simple statement right there is a little bit nerve-wracking for the city of Salt Lake.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
When I listen to the Smith Entertainment Group talk about building and rebuilding downtown Salt Lake City, it feels like they're really trying to pump life into downtown.
And KSL 5 Television's Lindsay Aerts got an interview with the head of the Smith Entertainment Group. And he said, you know what, they're focused on downtown, but they could go anywhere.
I can go build a sports and entertainment center down south.
That is the most important statement that he made in all of Lindsay's interview, because it is the threat that is hovering over all of this, that if Salt Lake City doesn't play ball, that they just as easily can build all of this down south.
One of the public perceptions is that the Smith Entertainment Group is holding the city hostage, essentially. If they don't approve the sales tax increase, the team goes south.
Because it's not about our arena and it's not about that experience. I think the biggest misconception about this entire thing is people keep calling this a sports and entertainment district. It is sports, entertainment, culture, and convention. Without all four of those, this doesn't work.
We'll speak to Lindsay Aerts in just a few minutes, but first let's bring in Adam Small, KSL News radio reporter. Adam, there's a vision for this. What does it look like?
So Mike Mon, who Lindsay interviewed, gave a little bit more of what this could look like to some city council members last night. And so basically, we've talked about how this whole revitalization district goes all the way out to the block where the northeast side of the convention center and Abravanel Hall is. For right now, they're labeling that as phase 2. So it sounds like there's still more discussion to be had there with that end of this revitalization, like downtown district. So for right now, phase 1 includes the Delta Center itself and the block right to the east. The renderings they released, the plans that they released, so the main thing would start off, they would create this new grand entrance on the east side of the Delta Center, set up a couple new team stores, and basically, as we talked about, put the traffic here on 300 West underground so it goes into this fully walkable plaza, take out that whole big section of the convention center here on that block for a huge apartment tower, a hotel, shops, restaurants, and basically just turn it into this huge walkable plaza that leads right up to this new grand entrance for the Jazz and the NHL team.
You said housing?
Yeah, so it's a residential tower. And I believe as I was listening to that meeting last night that Mike Mom didn't know how big it's going to be yet, but it's going to be a tower, like a residential tower of some proportion. Again, the hotel, shops, they specifically said they want to have 2 different team stores. So, but yeah, a huge walkable plaza leading right up to the Delta Center.
Adam Small, thank you for the update.
You heard housing, Dave, which is great. We need more housing. But I heard underground tunnel and walkable, and that's awesome. If you want to make that walkable, you do have to put the traffic underground. It gets a little crazy out here on 3rd West. We work on 3rd West, and we also have tracks to think about. I wonder what's going to happen to those tracks lines that are right out here. Adam Small looked at me, and he's like, we'll check into that. We'll check into that because tracks is a big stop right out here as well.
Yeah, it goes east-west alongside of it. I would be surprised if they have to do anything with tracks. It seems like everything is south of tracks and what they're building up. So that's one of the big selling parts is that there's such easy access to this area because of tracks.
Straight ahead, KSL 5 Television's Lindsay Aerts got a big interview, and she asks if the tax increase or this whole thing is a done deal.
Is the tax increase a done deal?
No.
We'll talk to Lindsay next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
In a world where ugly siding, leaky gutters, and inefficient windows are sapping homeowners of their will to live, one company must save us all. This year, join RGS Exteriors as it embarks on a mission to eliminate outdated home exteriors, one Utah home at a time. Every plank of old, ugly siding must be replaced. Every leaky gutter must be eradicated. Every inefficient, energy-sapping window must be vanquished. Once and for all. Begin your epic remodeling quest by calling RGS Exteriors for a free estimate. Discover how a heroic team of experts will save your siding, gutters, or windows for a fair, no-nonsense price. Call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or journey online to rgsexteriors.com. RGS Exteriors, coming soon to a home near you.
We're about to bury the needle.
High pressure's going to build back. Another round of high heat will move on in.
And it's only June.
Extra hot, extra early.
Stay updated on the steamy forecast for this week. Get a reliable KSL forecast every 10 minutes on the 9s, mornings and afternoons on KSL News Radio.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like rowing upstream. But it's a river, a whitewater river, and the only paddles you have are pool noodles. Then when a new to-do pops up, you're like, nope, I'm already rowing upstream with these pool noodle paddles. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to get personalized discounts with a commercial auto insurance quote online, so your to-do list is smooth sailing. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverages and discounts not available in all states and subject to policy terms and underwriting.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Attention talcum powder users. Have you had ovarian or gynecological cancer? A proposed $8 billion plan will pay those who believe they got sick from using talc products like Johnson's Baby Powder and Shower to Shower. Johnson & Johnson maintains its products are safe. You have until July 26, 2024 to vote to accept or reject the plan. For more information, visit officialtalcclaims.com or call 888-431-4056. Paid for by LLT Management, LLC.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Got a car-loving dad? Nice. We've got a Father's Day sale. Right now, our Armor All Ultimate 8-piece bucket kit is just $25. That's soap, a wash mitt, wheel cleaner, tire shine, glass wipes, and interior wipes. Plus, a bucket to use for the wash. All for just $25 at the AutoZone Father's Day sale. Now through the 16th.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, Benjamin, we've got a surprise for you.
What?
You have a brother. $100 bill just like you.
Hey, I'm Ben.
What? We just got him for joining America First Credit Union and opening a new checking account.
And you're going to live together at America First.
What? This is nice.
For a limited time, new members get a $100 cash bonus when they open a checking account or $50 when they open a youth checking account. So head to americafirst.com and get your money working today. Membership eligibility, terms, and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Now, during our Stars and Stripes savings sale, get up to $120 off select sets of in-stock tires. Don't wait. The sale ends July 7th. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
On Wednesday, August 14th, the Orrin G. Hatch Foundation will present U.S. Senator John Thune with the Titan of Public Service Award at the Grand American Hotel in Salt Lake City. You're invited to join Senator Thune, a senior member of Senate leadership, as we pay tribute to his decades of public service to our country. Seats are limited, so reserve your tickets today for this special event at OrrinHatchFoundation.org. That's ORRIN Hatchfoundation.org.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, Logan police are seeing a rise in red light traffic violations. This warning comes during the first few weeks of the 100 deadliest days in Utah. Police are asking drivers to please be careful and smart. Second, there has been at least 7 search and rescue incidents over the span of 4 days in Utah. Third, Utah will be getting a new congressman this year. Candidates for the 3rd Congressional District will go head-to-head in a debate tonight, and we'll air it live at 6 p.m. Right now, 81 degrees in Salt Lake. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local stories.
So once again, Smith Entertainment Group finds itself in front of the Salt Lake City Council. I feel like they're there more than the City Council's there. Are they just like waiting there right now for the next meeting? Lots of discussion about what the new downtown will look like now that we've got that NHL team secured. But the one thing we don't know is what's the name of the team. I thought this was funny that the council tried to squeeze a little bit of breaking news about the team name.
Are you committed to more opportunities for kids and families to be downtown as part of this thriving infrastructure?
Yes.
What is the name of the new hockey team?
Councilmember Young, I'm thrilled that you'd ask this. I'm going to have to ask the public that because the voting, the second round of voting is in process right now, and I think goes through June 20th. Goes through June 20th, and then there will I think, likely be one more phase after that, but we'll find out together when the voting is complete.
It was a valiant effort. Anything you could do to squeeze out that name, I love it. By the way, I did vote. Have you voted? Have you voted on the name?
I haven't voted yet.
Utah Mammoth for this guy.
I'm going with Yeti.
Utah Mammoth.
So there's a breakdown of the public money that's going to be spent on the renovations around the Delta Center, and Mike Mon with the Smith Entertainment Group addressed that as well.
It's a fair question. You will, I hope, give us some grace in the fact that we've had a hockey team for only a few weeks, and we're looking at a comprehensive remodel of the stadium. So if you're familiar, a basketball court is roughly half the size of a hockey rink. So to fit a hockey rink inside the stadium will be a massive change. Now, and so we're looking at all of those numbers right now. It's anticipated that roughly 500 or so million will go toward the arena, and then the rest of that will be invested into the district and to all of these, again, public spaces, plazas, etc., as we develop the rest of the district.
That was part of a 45-minute interview that KSL Television's Lindsay Aerts had with Mike Mon, and they went through so many different angles of this revitalization. How's it going to be paid for? What's going to be the specifics of the downtown? Lindsay Aerts joins us right now. Lindsay, what a great interview. Thank you. And I think this public money breakdown was an important part of it because I think a lot of people are hesitant to send taxpayer money for a sports team. And he said it's more than just a sports team, right?
Yeah, Dave, that was kind of their main message is, I think there's a lot of, that's what he said. The biggest public misconception in his mind is that this is just about sports and entertainment. This is not a sports and entertainment district, he keeps saying, right? It's about those four pillars they often talked about. And he even went so far as to say, if this doesn't work for culture and convention, meaning Abravanel and the Salt Palace, if this doesn't work for them either, we're not doing it. It has to work for all four. It has to work for the entire reactivation of the downtown area, or we're not doing it, right? It's not about the sports and entertainment district, at least in their mind.
Okay, so if they don't do it here, where, Linz? Did you get information out of Mike Mon about that?
Yeah, so this is tricky because there is this kind of looming what happens if the sales tax increase doesn't get approved, right? And basically what Mike Mon said is they have to have other options available to them. Now, we know that they purchased the Southtown Mall and that they can build a sports and entertainment district presumably on that land down there. Now, he didn't say that specifically, but presumably they have another alternative here. And so the public perception is that they are threatening, right? If the city does not approve of the sales tax, we'll pull the teams, right? That's not entirely accurate. That is not, well, that's kind of the reality of the situation. What they're saying is they're committed to downtown. They want to do this downtown because it is more lucrative for them to go and build at the south end of the valley. It is easier for them. There's less regulation and less red tape. They can build a sports and entertainment district on the south end of the valley. What they want to do is reactivate downtown and create a thriving urban core with this mission-driven concept that they talk about.
Lindsay, part of the reason, as I'm looking at their push, not just for sports, obviously the Jazz and the hockey team's going to be, a huge part of this, but the reason they want to keep culture and convention and entertainment there is because if you're relying just on the sports teams, they're only playing 41 games a year in basketball, 41 games in hockey. It felt to me like they need all of these things to bring people downtown, not just the sports fans.
Yeah, and you kind of have to zoom out to 30,000 feet and kind of look at how this whole deal came together. When they got the hockey team, they knew they were going to need to put them somewhere, right? And their plan, they've said publicly, was to go south and build that sports and entertainment district. But they came together with state, city, and county government leaders, and they all put their hands in a pot and said, or hands together, right, saying, go team, and decided that this hockey team could be a catalyst for revitalizing downtown. So that's really the way they view it, is that they all came together to say, we don't know how this is going to come together, but we all want to reactivate downtown, and we agree that it needs some public investment, and so we are going to hope that this hockey team is a catalyst for allowing that to happen.
I think we just need to back up for just one moment for those who didn't hear Adam Small's report just a few minutes ago about the new plans that are being laid out for and around the Delta Center. They include what Dave cares the most about, a big old jumbotron outside where everybody can watch the game. That the initial phase will impact the Delta Center and just a block north or block east, and looks like they're looking at an apartment or some sort of a high-rise housing unit, and also taking out a chunk of the Salt Palace as well. So we're just learning that, plus this underground road on 300 West the road would go underground. So then that area above the road becomes very, very, becomes walkable. It doesn't become very well. You can walk on it. You can walk across it, and you're not going to get in the way of traffic and vice versa.
Yeah, Debbie. So that is what Mike Mon revealed to me on Monday, saying that that's what the plans would look like. Now, he reiterated some of those at the city council meeting last night, releasing a few new renderings. But, there have been reports showing that taking that 300 West road underground is going to cost in the hundreds of millions. And I asked him directly, is that feasible? And he said he believes it is. So they have some, priorities that they want to kind of try to make happen. And the law stipulates the way they can use the tax money, but they, if they kind of decide that's a good idea, then they may put some of the money to that, right? So they want to create this walkable plaza. You go from the Delta Center, you walk across 3rd West. 3rd West is underground. And then within this plaza space between the blocks of First South and North Temple, there is housing, there's a hotel, there's residential, and then up on the Jumbotron, right, at the Delta Center, presumably you could watch games right there in the plaza when our new hockey team eventually brings the Stanley Cup to Utah.
In the final 30 seconds that we have, how does the city council feel about this?
Well, that's kind of a hard question to answer. We know Mayor Mendenhall is supportive. We know Mayor Wilson is supportive, right? But what they're working out right now are logistics. Now, this all comes down to the city council approving the sales tax increase, and that is what still remains to be seen. It's hard to gauge how their votes will go, but we do know that Mayor Mendenhall and Mayor Wilson are pushing for this. Mayor Wilson and the county is in charge of Abravanel Hall and decisions on what happens inside that building, and then Mayor Mendenhall is supportive of the reactivation and using the tax money, again, for a reactivation like this.
Lindsay Ertz, thank you. You can actually follow that or see that full 45-minute interview with Michael Mon with the Smith Entertainment Group on KSL TV and on YouTube. Lindsay, thank you.
Thanks, Linz. Dave, what are your thoughts?
I think it looks very good. It looks very promising. There's a lot of strength behind this pitch from the Smith Entertainment Group that if they don't get what they want, that there is this overhanging, thing going on that we can't pack up and go. We have leverage, we have power, and I think they will get every single thing they're asking
Given how far down the road they are on this and the plans, it sounds to me like it's a done deal.
And they're looking to break ground next year.
It feels like a done deal to me. I know that they've got to vote aye on this at City Hall. But it sounds to me like it's a done deal. I mean, this is where we're at. They're not releasing plans and talking about, building underground roads in Salt Lake City just for fun, just to see kind of what the reaction would be. It sounds to me like it's a done deal, friends.
Vixen. KSL's top national story this hour, or top story, Utah will be getting a new congressman this year. Candidates for the 3rd Congressional District will go head-to-head in a debate tonight. Mayor of Roosevelt, J.R. Byrd, Utah State Auditor John Dougal, State Senator Mike Kennedy, Case Lawrence, and former Utah County Republican Party Chairman Stuart Pay will hit the stage. We'll be airing it live here on KSL News Radio at 6 p.m. For a recap on the other 5 debates this week, visit KSLNewsRadio.com. In the gubernatorial debate last night, Governor Cox referenced a Deseret News and Hinckley Institute of Politics poll about the Olympics. It found that 79% of Utahns support hosting the 2034 Games. Previous polls showed a similar level of interest last year and in 2022. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, the inflation report from the federal government was better than expected.
In a hopeful sign that record high inflation is over, the federal government's report on consumer prices shows the cost of goods, rent, and healthcare was essentially flat. The first time since July 2022, there was no monthly increase. Prices rose just 0.2% from April to May, down 0.3% from the previous month. Inflation now far below its peak of 9.1% from 2022, but it remains above the Fed's target level of 2%. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 126 points. That's about 0.3%. We're at 38,873. And coming up, we've got hot days in store, at least for the next couple of days. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Hey, my name is Chris Stewart. The question I have is, who can best represent us in Congress? And the answer to me is clearly Celeste. So in my life, I've been around some of the strongest leaders in the world. What is it that makes a good leader? Humility. The humility to listen, to actually consider what it is that they want, to try to help people. That's Celeste to her core. Celeste has shown up for me. She'll show up for you. She shows up for Utah.
Paid for by Celeste for Congress.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
Check out AMCO's multiple financing options, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow.
AA MCO.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hello, I'm former Governor Gary Herbert. I've known Spencer Cox for over 15 years. His commitment to Utah and to our future is unmatched. In his first term, he passed record tax cuts while increasing teachers' salaries and funding for education. Now more than ever, we need a strong, principled, conservative leadership in this state. I trust Spencer Cox completely. Vote to keep Utah strong. Re-elect Spencer Cox as governor.
Paid for by Friends of Spencer Cox.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, traffic is struggling to get back up to speed on northbound I-15 coming out of Utah County. The good news is the delays have shortened considerably. Now you'll hit the brake lights just as you hit the point of the mountain coming out of Lehigh and head toward Bangerter Highway. Once you get past Bangerter Highway, you are back up to freeway speeds all the way into Salt Lake City. And we have a major congestion right now on Bangerter Highway, both northbound and southbound in South Jordan as you approach 9800 South where there's construction. Planning to remodel this summer? See the latest in stunning quartzite and granite countertops from Bedrock Quartz with 7 locations across Utah, including a new Park City showroom. Visit bedrockquartz.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We could hit triple digits today, and the heat will stick around for the next couple of days. It will start to cool down a little on Saturday. Right now, it's 82 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Salt Lake City 2034. In-depth coverage on KSL News Radio.
I mean, Dave, when I hit that stager just now, Salt Lake City 2034, you know what that means? The boss basically thinks we're going to get the 2034 games. Because he would have never have authorized us to play that, right? I think this is another one of those done deals. I think it's just like we talked about the Smith Entertainment Group building and rebuilding downtown Salt Lake City. I think another step today, it's going to happen at 11 o'clock, is going to spell the games are coming back to Utah.
This is the slowest baker in America. It is unbelievable. It's a loaf of bread. It's 3 ingredients, folks. It is water, wheat, and yeast. That's it. And we got a loaf of bread, but my goodness, are we stretching this bad boy out forever? Just tell us we got it.
So at 11 o'clock today, we expect an executive committee of the IOC I don't know, to pass on Utah's bid for full consideration by the entire IOC, and then the announcement will come on July 24th, which, of course, is Pioneer Day here in Utah. We'll all be on the streets celebrating with a parade.
And just to be very, very clear, again, worst baker ever is offering one roll. You know, it's like one loaf of bread. We're the only game in town, folks.
Yeah.
We're the only ones in consideration. Mm-hmm. There's not another city that is sweeping in and trying to make a last-minute bid. We're the only ones they're looking at. So, again, we're going through all the technical procedures. That's what's happening right now. But they're only dating us. They only want to date us. They've bought a ring in our size. They just haven't given it to us yet.
Okay, so let's talk about the estimated cost. They put out a number of hosting the games. I'll tell you how they'll be paid for. I think you're all going to like this. I also want to talk about ticket prices, because if they're already talking about ticket prices, you know what that means. It's a done deal. I don't know how many times on the show I'm going to say that today. It's a done deal. So let's talk about ticket prices. And let's talk about this.
79% of Utahns are excited for the Olympics to come back. 79%. In this day and age, it is impossible to get 79% of anybody to agree on anything.
The new poll from the Desert News and the Hinckley Institute of Politics, let's just round that up to 80%. If you are the 20% who said, nah, we don't want to bet, too bad. Too bad. You're on the wrong side of the 2034 games.
You know who that 20% is?
Not you and your family.
No, we love it. We're excited. Okay. It's skiers that saw ticket prices skyrocket.
Oh, passes.
Oh,
ski passes
yeah,
after
season
the games.
passes, daily passes. Mm-hmm. We went from $20 passes a day, $25 to $150, $200 for a single day.
Oh,
and then we put it on our license plate, Great Snow on Earth. Like we're broadcasting it to the entire world, and now it's $150 to go skiing for the day.
Oh my!
That's the 20% that doesn't want to go.
That's
is
what
I'm saying.
That's the Debbie Downer moment. Okay, we're going to move on from that because 80% of you are super excited. I'm going to give you the price tag. And just so you know, in the next few minutes, we'll be taking your live phone calls because we want to get in the Olympic spirit here. If you're one of the 20%, let's hear from you. Why are you not excited about the games? Are you worried about traffic? Are you worried about, the high cost of housing and interest in Utah that happens because we're on the world stage, and that housing prices will go up even more because then everybody want to move here. They want to move here, and they want to buy a house, right near a ski resort. So, okay. $2.83 billion is the estimated cost of the 2034 Winter Games. Now, let me tell you how that's usually or was covered in the past for the 2002 games. It was, through ticket sales and sponsorships. What's not to love about that? You come here, you enjoy the games. You live here, you go and enjoy the games. You buy a ticket. I'm going to tell you how much those were back in 2002. It'll shock you how cheap they were and how cheap some of these tickets are going to be estimated to be in 2034. But what's not to love about that, covering the costs with ticket sales and sponsorships?
Incredible. Mm-hmm. I mean, quite honestly, but we have seen throughout the decades that we've been so closely focused on the Olympics and how much it costs, countries have gone in massive debt trying to put on the Olympics. They have done so, and it does not make money for the vast majority. We did it and made money. That was one of the things that was so incredibly impressive, and part of the reason why we're such a compelling site to go to get a second round is because we don't have to invest as much into infrastructure. We have so many venues that are already built and upkept. There's a lot of reasons why we can make this profitable, but Debbie, you look at China, you look at Russia, you look at a lot of Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. These countries were going billions of dollars into debt.
Yeah. KSL.com did a really great breakdown of this. And as part of their report, they talk about they're estimating right now that there'll be over 30,000 tickets priced in the $34 range.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's affordable. We call that affordable.
You can't get a hockey ticket for that.
I was a reporter at KSL5 Television for a number of years, and I had the honor of being among the many reporters, photographers, producers who covered the 2002 games, and many of the events and things that happened right in downtown, right around Broadcast House. It was a super exciting time, and we went, to every single story. We went every direction for weeks and actually years on end. One story that I did, they sent me down to Main Street, Dave, for something called a ticket exchange, because the big fear was the Olympics are going to come here. We're going to have people from all over the world, and we're not going to be able to afford to take our kids to any of these events. And the Olympic Committee in 2002 came up with what I thought was a brilliant idea. And maybe they took this idea from another Olympic Games. Whatever the case may be, it worked really well. So there was a ticket exchange on Main Street. I went down there as a news reporter, and I interviewed people who were buying tickets and people that were running the ticket exchange. Everybody who was exchanging tickets or wanted to exchange their ticket or sell their tickets had a background check. They were vetted. So, like when Dave Noriega decided he wanted to buy a ticket, they were making sure you weren't getting ripped off, right? Because that can happen.
Fraud, absolutely.
So, and then they had a big board. I mean, I'm sure now it'll be all computerized given the fact that we've made so many advances since 2002 with technology. But it was a big, just a board, it was like a handwritten board. And tickets that were available as cheap as, get this, $20.
Back in 2002.
Yeah, that was in 02. Yeah. And that was during the games. Now, that was not the ticket price that was going to get you into the men's hockey final for the gold.
Right.
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 It was, you weren't going to get that for $20, but you were going to be able to access a lot of the events and for cheap. Take your family of 5, 6 for, $120 and have that experience and get that Instagram moment, not knowing that you would need that one day. So isn't that exciting?
It's great. It's great news. It will be interesting to see how they handle the ticketing process this go around, because it wasn't smartphones. That wasn't part of it. You had a physical ticket that you had to bring in. That is not how ticketing is done any longer. That is decades and generations past. So hopefully they do have the same kind of detailed, oriented, where you can have the confidence that when you buy something that you don't get hit with crazy fees, with resellers, that the scalpers aren't just punching you in the face. If it can be affordable, they've got to figure that out. That is the most important thing for me.
Affordable and no fraud, please.
Yeah.
No fraud. All right. Let's take live phone calls. We expect that announcement to happen about an hour and maybe hour and a half from now, where the Executive Committee of the International Olympic Committee will recommend Utah as a 2034 host of the Winter Olympic Games. I think it's super exciting. Do you? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Looking forward to taking your live phone calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Well, it's been 5 months. Time to check in on those New Year's resolutions you made to lose weight. How'd it go? I asked because once I started my health journey with my friends at Soda Weight Loss, it took me just over 5 months to let go of 70 pounds of fat weight. And even better, I did it all from the convenience of home with no office visits, injections, crazy workouts, or fad diets. What I did have was access to a certified dietitian like Avery.
I feel like you're enrolling in like a school of nutrition with a whole new perspective on what food is and what it does for your body.
Soda helped me retrain myself and change the lifelong food habits that got me where I was in the first place.
I think the accountability is the game changer for everything.
So, how fast do you want to let go of that weight for good? Go to sodaweightloss.com and save 15% by clicking one simple button, Request a Nutritionist Callback. A Soda nutritionist will be on the line before you know it, and you'll be on your way to looking and feeling like you've wanted to. That's SOTAweightloss.com. Don't forget, SOTA stands for State of the Art.
Don't be worried, be ready.
KSL News Radio has partnered with Be Ready Utah to provide the plans your family needs for an emergency, the tools and supplies to keep on hand, and the knowledge on how to keep a cool head.
It's Be Ready Utah. Listen to our show, Dave and Dujanovic, for Be Ready tips and tools.
Or you can always find the latest preparation info at BeReadyUtah.gov.
Be Ready Utah with KSL News Radio.
The fight to defeat the swamp, defend our constitutional liberties, and put America first starts in Utah with conservative outsider Trent Staggs. As mayor of Riverton, Staggs stood up to Rhino Mitt Romney, fought against unconstitutional government COVID lockdowns and mandates, and Staggs was the first candidate to endorse President Donald Trump. Now, conservative Trent Staggs will continue to defend our conservative values by taking the fight to Washington, D.C. and defeating the swamp. In Congress, Staggs will partner with fellow conservative Rand Paul to protect our constitutional liberties, end taxpayer-funded handouts to Ukraine, secure our border, and deport illegal aliens. That's why Trent Staggs has earned President Trump and Senator Rand Paul's complete and total endorsement. A proven conservative, taking the fight to the Washington swamp. Trent Staggs for U.S. Senate. Protect Freedom PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.protectfreedompac.com.
Stem cell therapy, revolutionizing the medical industry, changing everything. Find out how stem cells might help you. Meet a stem cell expert who has successfully treated patients with cutting-edge therapies for many years, delivering transformative results and improving countless lives. Hear stories about how stem cells have helped so many people in so many ways and might be right for you. Join others, ask questions, hear about real-life cases. This Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Hyatt in Lehigh. Get your questions answered. Register at eventbrite.com, stem cell therapy, or by calling 866-STEM-EVENT. This is a free event open to anyone who is interested in learning about the wonders of stem cells. This Thursday, 6 p.m. at the Hyatt in Lehigh. Register at eventbrite.com, stem cell therapy, or by calling 866-STEM-EVENT. Call 866-STEM-EVENT.
As CEO, CTO, COO, or anyone who owns or operates a company, you've got plenty of titles and, of course, grand ideas. What you may be short on is time and qualified personnel to bring that next big idea to life. Meet DevSimplify. The team, the experience, and the expertise to bring custom software and apps to life. DevSimplify specializes in building market-ready software, from SaaS, mobile and web apps, to custom e-commerce and system integrations. DevSimplify handles design, development, branding, even the big launch, collaborating with your existing brilliant team or managing the project all the way from start to finish. The experts at DevSimplify know just how complex and time-consuming developing software can be. At DevSimplify, it's simply what they do. Schedule your consultation and make your software vision a reality from design to launch, so you can focus on what you do best, running your business. DevSimplify.com. DevSimplify.com.
Hey, we're taking your phone calls right now, 801-575-TALK, about the Olympics. How are you feeling about it? I want to know, what are you most nervous about? Is it the cost of the tickets? Is it going to be construction? You remember the luge? Give us your phone calls right now. What makes you the most nervous about getting the Olympics? 575-TALK.
I support Rochelle Morris for Salt Lake County Council because she's a collaborative leader.
I support Rochelle Morris for Salt Lake County because she's conservative.
I support Rochelle Morris for County Council because she has the experience and skills to get the job done.
Rochelle Morris will work hard for all of us who call Salt Lake County home.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Morris, and I approve this message because I'm ready to make Salt Lake County work better for all of us. We need leaders on the County Council who will make sure our parks are safe for our families to enjoy. We need innovative leaders who will stop property tax increases and be wise stewards of taxpayer money. I would love to earn your vote in the Republican primary on June 25th. Learn more at voterochellemorris.com. Again, that's voterochellemorris.com.
Paid for by Rochelle Morris for Salt Lake County Council. Start your summer drive with a new auto loan from Cypress Credit Union and enjoy competitive rates and flexible terms. Visit cypresscu.com or ask for Cypress at the dealership.
Master Electrical Services, home of the upfront pricing guarantee.
Dave and Dujanovic. Salt Lake City 2034. In-depth coverage on KSL News Radio.
Well, it'll likely happen in about an hour from now, where Utah's bid for the 2034 games will be pushed onward and upward to the entire International Olympic Committee. And then in July, on July 24th, Pioneer Day, we expect them to make an official announcement that we're getting the games.
Isn't that hilarious that it lands on Pioneer Day? Like, it's our state holiday. This is incredible. We want to know, taking your phone calls, 801-575-TALK. It is a done deal. It's not official, but it's a done deal. We're getting the Olympics. Is there anything that makes you nervous? I want to hear from the folks, the 20%. It's not a huge amount. The 20% of people in Utah, according to polling, that are not excited about the games.
Travis in South Jordan. Hi, neighbor.
Hey, what's good? Hey, I'm very excited. I'm 43 now, so when the Olympics hit in 2002, I just turned 21, had a blast, and coincidentally, my daughters are going to be 21 when the next Olympics hit, and I can't help but wonder what took so long. I mean, I'm not sure if they duplicate locations in the Winter Olympics, but we've been ready for it. We proved to the world that we can handle it, and and it seems like 32 years later was quite a stretch. I mean, we could host them, sooner, instead of waiting 10 years. And I'm excited. And another question, to see what you guys' thoughts were about the nightlife in Utah. I feel like we've stepped it up throughout the years since after the 2002 Olympics, and we kind of got rid of that stigma and that stereotype that Utah, was boring or something, didn't have a nightlife. And I think in 2002, I personally experienced 2 weeks of having a great time downtown myself, and the nightlife was really live, and I hope in 2034 they really turn it up.
Travis, thank you for the phone call. Let me hit a couple of your questions. Number one, what took so long? It's pretty rare that a host city gets a second bid, especially even in the last 50 years. Large cities like Los Angeles, they hosted in '84. They'll host again this upcoming Olympics. So it happens occasionally. 2028, I believe, is when they're doing that in Los Angeles.
Correct.
So, it happens, but it's usually very large cities. It's pretty rare that a small city, a small state like us, would host a second time. So, this is a very big deal. There has been discussions about whether or not there should be a rotating group of host cities that they consistently know that, hey, every 25 years you're going to go to this city. There has been discussions about that because it's very expensive to put on the Olympics.
I laugh because 25 years this feels like forever in the future. Hi, Barry. Hi, from Roy. What do you think? You excited about the Olympics, or is it a no-go for you?
I certainly am excited, and I'm part of the 80%. I'm sorry. Utah's got to step up here and understand we have leaders that had enough foresight to maintain those venues.
Yep.
And Utah snow is what's getting them back. It's the ability to have the venues in place. This isn't going to cost Utah anything, and we're going to reap the benefit of the tourists coming into this state and bringing the money with them. And if that's not a win-win, I don't know what is. Governor Cox hit it on the head last night. I was so happy he said what he did. Mr. Lyman has to check his facts again because his fact checkers aren't working.
So thank you so much for calling. And we do know that in the past, the cost of the Olympics was covered. I mean, this was not something where we were out a ton of money as taxpayers. It was covered through ticket sales and sponsorships.
Yeah, and merchandise. There were so many things that have played into this. And Barry, as you said, because we made money back in 2002 and we turned a profit, we had essentially a slush fund that was able to help maintain the venues, and it maintained the venues for a very long time. We've run out of some of those funds, and we've supplemented them since. But it was because we had millions and millions of dollars remaining that it was put in a trust fund, and that money was used to maintain these things. And because it was maintained, because they're still being used by training Olympic athletes, that opens up a door for us to get it in 2034.
So one of our texters at 57500, maybe you're in the 20% against, reminded me of the 2 to 3 years of bad roads due to the need to... Yeah.
The luge.
Yeah.
You remember that.
Well, that was, I-15 needed a full rebuild, and so it was closed on a nightly basis. It was tricky.
Yeah, it was, and dangerous, quite frankly.
We have time for maybe one more call.
Nick in Layton, are you for it or against it?
I'm kind of against it. I like the fact of the Olympics being here, but the cost of housing now is so outrageous. My kids can't find a place that they can afford. Yeah. And it's only going to go up exponentially once this is announced, because we're going to have all these teams coming in and training here.
They will. They move in years early. They become acclimated to the altitude here and the landscape here. And you're absolutely right. The price of housing has skyrocketed since Utah went on the world stage.
Yeah, but overwhelming support. 80% of Utahns excited about it.
And we'll be carrying that announcement live today at 11 o'clock, if we can, about the next step for the Olympic Games for Utah. Straight ahead, a political candidate in a race for county commission and the comments he said at a public meeting.
But I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of Koreans or Mexicans or whoever,
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Palmas. KSL's top story this hour.
In the last 4 days, rescue teams have responded to several emergency incidents along the Provo River. KSL News Radio's Andrew Gordon has more.
At least 7 emergency incidents, including 2 drownings, have occurred at several locations on the Provo River. At Deer Creek, a family's boat sank and 2 children went missing while paddleboarding. They have been found safe and wearing their life jackets. Another woman broke her leg while paddleboarding on Soldier Creek, and a kayaker may have broken his leg when he flipped over on Monday. Peak flow is still several weeks out, so officials are urging people to avoid rivers and waterways. Andrew Gordon, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. NBA Hall of Famer Jerry West died this morning at the age of 86. West was one of the greatest players in NBA history. His silhouette became the league logo. In addition to being a Hall of Fame player, he was a coach and team executive for the LA Lakers. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day right now, 94 points, while the NASDAQ is up 300. And our KSL weather, nothing but hot. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
You've been working so hard to keep your lawn and garden looking good. Maybe it's time to make your home look incredible with new window frames and double pane glass from Advanced Window Products. If you can imagine it, they can create it at their factory in Salt Lake City. Any style, any color, security enhancements to keep your family safe. All this and factory direct pricing. You're buying local and paying less. So seal up your home and reap the energy savings with Advanced Window Products, where they've been creating windows for 38 years. No subcontractors, they're not resellers. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. And right now at their summer special, get an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. They offer 0% financing and even buy now, pay later. Busy season's just hitting. Call now. Advanced Window Products, $2,500 off. But you have to call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or go to advancedwindowsusa.com.
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son.
On September 12, 1995, McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas.
There was no sign of forced entry. It was just as if McKay had walked out of his own free will.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, feels that justice was never truly served. Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Attention homeowners considering roof replacement in 2024. Light up your home this June with Master Roofing. Schedule your roof replacement by the end of June and receive a free V-Lux sun tunnel valued at $1,200. Perfect for brightening your bathrooms and hallways. Don't miss out. Visit masterroofingutah.com to schedule your free assessment and claim your free V-Lux sun tunnel. Call 801-383-0072 or visit masterroofingutah.com today. Light up your home with Master Roofing.
Paid for by Lyman for Utah.
I guess the thing that I want people to think about when they go to vote this year, I want them to remember the masking, remember the business shutdown, remember the call-in lines, the hotlines to report your neighbors. And we can't expect that the same people that created that corrupt system are going to now turn around and fix it. A good question to ask, if you go and look at my opponent's campaign disclosures, is who's benefiting and how. As your governor, I am committed to making this a top priority.
Phil Lyman for governor.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
We've got a new crash in Midvale. This is northbound I-15. Multiple vehicles involved in this one. A couple of the vans are also pulling trailers. So you have the HOV lane and left shoulder blocked, as well as the right shoulder. And one of the trailers is partially blocking that right-hand lane. This is right over the I-215 South interchange in Midvale. So traffic is feeling like it's being squeezed, and it's almost at a standstill, quickly backing up into Sandy. You're going to have to add an extra 5 or 10 minutes to your commute if you're coming out of Draper and Sandy heading into downtown Salt Lake. Hey, Utah, summer has come alive. All better in a new vehicle from Murdoch Hyundai. Receive 2.99% for 5 years on a Tucson Limited or 3.49% for 5 years on an Elantra SEL. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be hot today and tomorrow with highs near 100. Temperatures start to drop on Friday. We're looking at a high of 79 on Monday. And right now, 82 degrees. It's partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
There's a Republican candidate for county commission who made comments in a planning commission meeting, and we're going to listen to those comments in just a moment. Now, these comments came, Dave, during a discussion of a ban of multifamily housing across the county. And the county we're talking about is about an hour north from us, Box Elder County.
So when you say they're banning multifamily housing, are we talking like townhomes?
Correct.
Duplexes?
Correct.
Apartments?
Correct.
Condos?
Correct.
Okay, so you're flat out, you're building a home for your family, and that's it. This is what it sounds.
A single-family home is okay. But this ban includes what you just listed. And this is in unincorporated areas of Box Elder County. So there's no construction of these allowed. Now, during these discussions, comments happened last July. And I want you to listen to this comment that came from now candidate for county commission, Steve Zollinger. Okay, he sits on the planning commission, and they were talking about this ban. I'm going to play part of the comments now, and then I'm going to play the rest in just a few moments.
But I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of Koreans or Mexicans or whoever,
Yikes. I couldn't believe he said that. We don't want an area of a bunch of Koreans or Mexicans? Like what? Listen, if you don't want to have townhomes and duplexes, apartments, condos, replacing your farms and your open fields, I get that. You can say that. What you can't say is it's because of somebody's race or their ethnicity. You cannot say Koreans or Mexicans is the reason we don't want people there. That is so incredibly offensive and racist. How does that come out? Now, there's a little bit more to this, and we'll try to soften it up, but just when I heard that, Debbie, made my skin crawl.
So I look at this as I was listening to several planning commission meetings. We've got two situations here. One is they've banned traditionally lower price, more affordable housing like townhomes, and you can rent an apartment for a lot cheaper than you can buy a home across many areas of Box Elder County. But to your point, and this was my jaw-dropping moment when I heard those comments, I started to feel like race was playing into this. I want to play a larger portion of those comments from that July meeting. We expect, and I hope, that this candidate, Steve Zollinger, is going to call the show in about 25 minutes. I've been texting with him since last night, and I've lined him up to call in at 10:35. I hope he can do that. So remember, he sits on the Planning Commission. So the Planning Commission is responsible for making decisions about, housing and what gets built and what doesn't get built. And these comments happened last summer during a meeting, and now he's a candidate for county commission. So let's listen.
But I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of Koreans or Mexicans or whoever,
That's Republican candidate for Box Elder County Commission, Steve Zollinger. As a planning commissioner, he was part of the board's unanimous vote late last year.
All in favor?
Aye.
To ban construction of multifamily housing units like duplexes, townhomes, and apartments across unincorporated Box Elder County. And during a public meeting, Zollinger made this comment.
I have siblings that have had to come back and live with my parents for a little while, and I think that's maybe more of an issue now than it's ever been. My parents never charged rent at the time. But I think if my kids came back and lived with me, I would charge rent. And that could be a way of people paying for their home, you know? I don't know that we're trying to limit that kind of incentive, but I don't think we want like a whole big area of a whole bunch of like Koreans or Mexicans or whoever, you know? I guess I shouldn't
Just
say.
duplicate, just high density.
Yeah,
houses.
we don't want a high density.
Now you could almost hear as he was saying that, he's like, no Koreans or Mexicans or whoever. And then he got cut off, but he says, I guess I shouldn't. And then it cut off. Perhaps he was realizing like, that sounds awful. It is awful. Like that can't play into this. If you want to have a policy as a county, if you want it to remain true to a, you know, days of future past, you know, I understand that. I get it. If you don't want a bunch of condos or if I get that, you cannot bring race into it. That's just, and if you're making decisions based on that, not only is it wrong and unethical, it is illegal.
What I didn't hear, and I listened to that meeting several times, I didn't hear him stand up and immediately apologize. I didn't hear him say, I need to retract that immediately. I didn't hear him recuse himself or abstain from the vote that would come later in September. He did issue a public apology in the August Planning Commission meeting. Now, this audio, which I obtained from the county, and I've been talking to the county about how muddy this audio is that they sent me. Now, all of this audio is captured by the county because these county commission meetings and planning commission meetings are recorded. But we have his written apology, and we'll talk about that.
So I'd just like to enter a statement of clarification from our last county meeting. As a planning commissioner, my intent is to balance the
So you can see that the audio there is quite muddled. So he says, I would like to enter a statement of clarification from our last county meeting. As a planning commissioner, my intent is to balance the private interest with the public good. As I interact in discussion, I try to use my experience to help move policy forward. I would like to apologize to any individual or group that may have been offended by my prior comments and let them know that I do sometimes misspeak and generalize at times. But it has and will continue to be my intention to continue to look out for the individual property rights of all people without consideration of membership in any protected classes and try to balance public good. Is that enough, Dave?
An apology is crucial. Number one, would I have liked to have seen a more direct apology to Mexicans and Koreans who he specifically spoke about in July? Yeah. I don't like kind of the toned down versions of, you know, I apologize to anyone that may have been offended. Listen, man, that was offensive comments. Just, you got to bite the bullet on this one. That was offensive. Apologize directly to the groups. And then, again, I want to make sure apologies are great. And we are forgiving. And we should be forgiving. We understand that people misspeak and generalize at times. That happens. But you also have to take responsibility and make sure that you know what you did wrong and what you said was wrong. And then you promise to do better. That's important.
I spoke to him last week by phone, and he gave me several explanations of why he voted in favor of this ban on multifamily housing, including, he acknowledged there's a need for multifamily housing, but he believes those are better suited close to cities where infrastructure already exists, or so there's roads and water lines and sewer lines. But then I asked him very specifically, what is your response to people who say what you said is racism?
But I don't think we want like a whole big area of a whole bunch of like Koreans or Mexicans or whoever, you know?
And when I asked him that question, was it racist? He said, absolutely not. Absolutely not was his response. Straight ahead, Utah State Senator Luz Escamilla calling the show live. I want to ask her, can Utah lawmakers step in? And what is her reaction to now candidate Zollinger's comments?
But I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of like Koreans or Mexicans or whoever, you know.
That's next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
If you have a family member that is struggling with addiction, folks, you're not alone. This is millions and millions of Americans that have dealt with that have struggled with it. Renaissance Ranch wants to help out.
Yeah, and they create healing and hope for families. And there's so many options here with Renaissance Ranch. I really love what they've done by creating these free online classes. And they really do help people who are dealing with a loved one who's going through addiction, Dave. You know, make sure they're not losing their self as well in their loved one's addiction.
I think so often we think about the person that is addicted or struggling. We don't think about the family and how they're impacted. That's why Renaissance Ranch wants the family to join these classes, to get some knowledge, because when families and loved ones are involved, the chances of a positive outcome for these addicted loved ones, it increases.
They treat the entire family. They're faith-based at Renaissance Ranch, and they are clinically proven for more than 20 years.
All you have to do is go to renaissanceranch.com, and you can see the list of free online classes that they have to offer. It's for couples, a women's support group, for spouses, for parents. There's so many different classes. Just go to renaissanceranch.com.
Are you using the KSL News Radio app to listen to your favorite shows whenever you want? You can podcast Utah's morning news even after it's finished at 9. You can listen to Dave and Dujanovic or Boyd Matheson. Just click on the podcast tab. And you can stream Jeff Kaplan live between 3 and 7 right from the player. All of those shows, plus the KSL Greenhouse and Cougar Sports Saturday. They're on the app for KSL News Radio. KSL News Radio.
Hello, this is Congresswoman Celeste Malloy. I'm running for re-election to keep Utah's conservative values in Washington, D.C. Like you, I'm tired of a government that spends too much, listens too little, and makes all of our lives harder. In Washington, I'm pushing back against bad ideas, liberal policies, and politicians who've been there longer than I've been alive. Keep me in Washington so I can keep fighting for you, because we're just getting started.
Paid for by Celeste for Congress.
Troy, I'm a bit biased, but I boldly believe Bish's boasts the best bunch of beloved customers in the business.
That's a bit braggadocious and verbose, but I believe every boast about our beautifully big-hearted brood of RV buying Bish's family.
Buddy, we are beyond #bless.
Which is why we're throwing a huge customer appreciation sale right now.
We're giving our customers the biggest thank you possible with the lowest pricing of the season that already includes prep and dealer fees.
Get all kinds of new RVs with payments starting under $149 per month on approved credit.
Start shopping now at BishesRV/RV Search. And how about 90 days of all play, no pay OAC?
You'll also get a free 1-year Bish Fix membership with any RV purchase. Your fast track to RV service repairs.
Plus, we're giving you an additional $1,000 towards your used travel trailer or fifth wheel trade-in now through June 29th.
Don't miss the customer appreciation sale happening now at Bish's RV in Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin.
OAC based on 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock number 79365 and 80972. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details.
Odds are, if you have a 401k, it's set up with your payroll provider or an insurance company. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and if you're using your payroll provider or an insurance company for your 401k, the employer may be overpaying for the plan, the employees may have blasé investment options, and those blasé investment options may cost more than they should. Not with Trajan Wealth. Call us today, 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Services offered through a third-party partner. Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
How long have you been dealing with joint pain in, say, a hip or a shoulder or maybe even your back? And how many things have you tried to make it better, and yet it seems like it's getting worse, and now it may even be risking not being able to do the things you love to do in the outdoors as we start to head to summer? May I suggest you look into QC Kinetics? It's the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, and they have lasting joint pain relief for some with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime, and they have arrived in Salt Lake City. So why would you put it off any longer? They have free consultations right now that could get you back to walking, running, hiking, even playing golf, and being able to move again pain-free. Wouldn't it be worth just getting some answers? Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility, and you can find them now in Mill Creek, Provo, and Bountiful. Call QC Kinetics today. 385-766-1987. That's 385-766-1987.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, we've had more river rescues after people floating Utah's swollen rivers got in trouble. Second, Jerry West, the player's silhouette is on the NBA logo, has died at the age of 86. And third, the Smith Entertainment Group sharing more plans for its downtown development. 82 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
When I spoke to Box Elder County Commission candidate Steve Zollinger, who's on the ticket up in Box Elder County as a Republican, Dave, I asked him if he felt these comments that he made at a planning commission meeting. By the way, he sits on the planning commission. These comments came last summer during a meeting to ban traditionally less expensive housing like townhomes and apartments and condos in unincorporated county. I asked him how he would respond to people who consider these comments racist.
But I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of like Koreans or Mexicans or whoever, you know.
And he told me during our phone conversation last week, absolutely not. When I asked him if these comments were racist, he said absolutely not.
So after you'd finished that conversation, you've heard the words. What was your thoughts after you got off the phone?
Well, he's campaigning for one of the highest offices, the seats in the county of Box Elder. And my feeling is when you're campaigning for public office, currently holds a position on the Planning Commission, it's an important position in a county. If you're holding a position of authority like that, that means you spend time finding ways to welcome people of all races to be our neighbors, to be your neighbors. It means word choices, your actions matter. They can either tear down or uplift. And I also felt, and I feel like it means loudly admitting when you're wrong.
Yes.
Loudly admitting when you're wrong. It means more than an issuance of a statement that says something, which he issued. I'd like to enter a statement of clarification from our last county meeting. Sometimes I misspeak. I apologize. It means stopping in the moment and saying profusely and profoundly that you're sorry, that you misspoke to the degree where you now need to recuse yourself or abstain from the vote. I did not hear those words. I did not hear those words when I spoke to him on the phone last week either.
I think it's important to recognize that he did apologize. And the apology wasn't exactly how I would have written it or how I would have liked to have heard it said. You know, it's in apologies in general, can we just ban this line? I apologize to any individual or group who may have been offended. Like, that is carbon copy. That is straight out of every apology statement in history. Listen, you specifically talked about Koreans and Mexicans. You need to apologize directly to Koreans and Mexicans.
But I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of like Koreans or Mexicans or whoever, you know.
Now, listen, there was an apology, and we do want to create this sense that if you apologize, there is forgiveness to be had. That's an important part of this, is if you apologize, there's some forgiveness out there for you. Otherwise, people are going to stop apologizing. They'll double down on offensive and racist things. So we want to leave a lot of room for people to learn and grow.
State Senator Luz Escamilla joining us live on the line right now. Let's start here. What are your thoughts on candidate Zollinger's comments from last summer?
Well, first, thank you, Debbie, for connecting me and sharing this information as it's resurfacing, and thank you for good journalism. We appreciate that. I'm shocked. It's disappointing. It's sad. It certainly does not reflect the good people of Box Elder County, certainly not the people of the state of Utah. And his remarks are offensive and blatantly racist. I mean, there's no other way of just naming someone based on race, ethnicity, and country of origin literally is the definition of racism. So I don't know what can you justify it or how you even explain this. We understand this person is a member of the Box Elder County Planning Commission, which is an appointed position. Hoping he will be removed. I mean, I'm surprised he's still there after, this happened, I guess, July of last year. It doesn't matter what the issue of conversation is. It doesn't matter why. There's no context behind actually putting groups of individuals based on their country of origin, race, and ethnicity into any type of conversation that's offensive. Like, we don't want them here. What does that mean? And again, I don't think it reflects by no means the good people of Box Elder County.
He said in his apology that sometimes he misspeaks and he generalizes at times and that he apologizes. What do you make of the apology?
Look, we all make mistakes. And you were very eloquently talking about apologies, and people deserve second chances. Here's the situation. These are individuals making real critical decisions in positions of leadership. We expect them to be held to a higher standard of conduct. And now he's running for office to be elected. I think the people of Box Elder County need to be aware. I'm glad this is being shared in terms of a journalist component to it. Because if people don't know, they have no idea this is how this gentleman feels about a specific group of people to be living in that community, to be part of the economic growth of Box Elder County. I'm okay when people say, oh, I'm sorry, and we've all made mistakes again. But if you're going to be in a position of leadership and making decisions that is going to impact an entire community, like in this case, an entire county, that may not be the moral compass I want to have someone representing me.
We're on the line live right now with State Senator Luz Escamilla talking about comments that were made by a planning commissioner in Box Elder County. And Box Elder County is about an hour's drive north of Salt Lake City. And he said this at the time, this was last July, that he said this during a public meeting. He is now a candidate for a much larger role in the county, which would be county commissioner if he's elected.
But I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of Koreans or Mexicans or whoever,
Now, when I spoke to him, he also discussed, Luz, that he understands the need for multifamily housing. He just prefers it to be near cities where infrastructure already exists, like roads and water lines. I think if that was the only discussion we were having, and he didn't make those comments, then we wouldn't even be having this discussion. But he made those comments, preceding a vote, a very important vote that came in September, which implemented a ban in that county. And now I'm wondering, is there anything that lawmakers can do from the Hill to go in and look at that ban? And from where you sit, is that something that you would be willing to do or considering doing?
And thank you for that question. We've been involved very heavily, as you know, the legislature in conversations about housing and our housing crisis. The state legislature did pass more frameworks for counties and municipalities to be also more inclusive on the type of housing that's needed under the current economic situation that we live as a nation. I mean, this is not unique to Utah. So I'll go and review on that piece on the multifamily housing and banning certain type of development. But here's what's ironic, as we were having this conversation. Yesterday, I'm part of the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games Coordinating Committee, and we had I think you guys were reporting, and as we had the governor coming and presenting at our committee, and we're about to announce that we're going to welcome the world in 2034, and these comments are surfacing. It's frightening. So I think it wouldn't matter even what type of conversation you're having any type of discriminatory practices based on race, ethnicity, and national origin, it's against the law. It doesn't matter if it's housing or healthcare. And in housing, where we're facing a crisis, it just, to me, is going backwards instead of moving forward. So, yeah, we will review that piece on the multifamily banning piece. I know, like I said, we just passed legislation that created that framework and a toolbox for municipalities to be more proactive in addressing a reality. This is a reality. And by the way, I heard that his entire, the audio about how he was explaining how people are going and living back with their parents. And, but at the end of the day, his comments are completely wrong. And I don't think he should be in the Planning Commission, and certainly not elected. So I'm hoping that good people of Box Elder County will make the right decision with their ballots when electing a new county commissioner, because that will be certainly a scary situation. But we need to obviously address housing, and I think the state is certainly moving forward and putting proposals to be more proactive.
State Senator Luz Escamilla, thank you.
Straight ahead, we're expecting that Republican candidate for Box Elder County Commission, Steve Zollinger, to call the show in about 3 minutes.
It's 10:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour, the Smith Entertainment Group sharing more of their plans to renovate the Delta Center and 2 neighboring downtown blocks. The group executive Mike Maughan told City Council members last night they first want to create a new East Side Grand entrance for the Delta Center and build a residential tower, a hotel, shops, and restaurants on the block just
the goal overall is to create a very family-friendly gathering space, many family-friendly gathering spaces downtown where people can shop, eat, gather, and come together.
Phase 1 of this construction could begin as early as April. Plans for Phase 2, including modifications to Bravenel Hall, are still in the works. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced it's donating a combined $55.8 million to nonprofit organizations in 12 different countries. The groups receiving the money will help with nutrition programs for women and children. The Church News reports the funding's part of a global initiative led by the Relief Society. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Biden flies to Italy today for meetings with a group of 7 leaders. He'll join the leaders of Canada, Germany, France, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom. Their agenda includes the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, trade tensions with China, and emerging threats from artificial intelligence. Your money at this hour, the Dow Jones average up on the day 59 points. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, up 297 points right now. And our KSL weather, it's just hot. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:33.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Hey, summer's here. Better replace your old air conditioner with up to $4,450 in incentives from First Choice Heating and Air on a new day and night system help.
Don't put it off any longer. Have First Choice Heating and Air install a new high-efficiency day and night heat pump, AC, and furnace and get day and night rebates and tax credits totaling up to $4,450. But hurry, this offer ends soon.
Hi, this is Rob Freeman. Click online to firstchoicecool.com. We have you covered.
The difference is day and night at First Choice Heating and Air.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer-certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins, and few have met the rigorous certification by Kia, Ford, Infiniti, Chrysler, Jeep, Nissan, Hyundai, and many others. But it's one more reason that Martins is your right choice. Check online at martinscollision.com. On State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
Summer is upon us, and do you know what your lawn wants? It wants Revive Organic Soil Treatment upon it. A Revive treatment with fertilization, aeration, and good watering is the key to building stronger roots for a healthy, lush green lawn all summer. Revive fertilizes and moves water and nutrients deeper into the soil. You'll see the difference. Revive is surefire defense against summer drought and skyrocketing water costs. Make the most of your watering with Revive Organic Soil Treatment. Apply Revive Organic Soil Treatment today. It works.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Do you find it exhausting getting up from your favorite chair every day? Say goodbye to discomfort and hello to a world of ease. Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical, and you have so many options when buying a lift chair. For the highest quality, always come to Alpine. Our lift chairs are more than just furniture. They're your ticket to independence and relaxation. Plus, with our spring savings event, we've just marked down some of our chairs that are ready for you to take home. With an unbelievable warranty, you can shop with confidence knowing your comfort is our priority. So stop by any of our 11 locations today and explore our high-quality inventory, or visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, we have mostly stopped traffic right now. Northbound I-15 approaching 90 south in Sandy, all the way up to 7200 south in Midvale. Part of this was due to an earlier crash at the south interchange, which has been moved out of traffic. But now we have a disabled vehicle in Midvale that was blocking a center lane. Looks like it's trying to get moved out of traffic. But right now, everyone is moving around to the right or left, and that's causing that nearly stopped traffic from parts of Sandy into Midvale. Most everyone else, though, is traveling at speed right now. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hot today and tomorrow, highs near 100, and then temperatures start to drop on Friday. We're looking at a high of 79 on Monday. Right now, 84 degrees, partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We've got candidate for Box Elder County Commission, Steve Zollinger, waiting on the line right now to address why he said this as a planning commissioner during last July's Planning Commission meeting as they discussed and began in earnest debating a ban across the county and unincorporated areas of the county of multifamily housing.
But I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of Koreans or Mexicans or whoever, you know.
And listen, I understand if you want your community to be a certain way, if you don't want to build a big booming metropolis and you want to live the farm life, I get that. I understand that. But obviously the problem was when you start singling out a race or an ethnicity and start saying Mexicans and Koreans, we don't want, them. That's where it crosses the line. And it was hard to listen to. I get that. It's a fair conversation to have. It was hard to hear that those two groups be singled out. And I will say this, Steve Zollinger joins us right now. I appreciate you taking the time, being willing to join us, because I think it's an important conversation. Thank you for joining us.
Dave, Debbie, thank you for the opportunity to visit and clarify. It's I appreciate family and friends and support and those that have helped me in this campaign process. It's been an eye-opener for me. I will tell you that it's hard to listen to your own voice, and you, Dave, and Debbie, you guys get that opportunity all the time, but for some of us, it's a rare thing to hear our voice. I did want to clarify some things. When I talked with Debbie last week, she asked me if I meant those comments as racist. That's what I heard, Dave, and I did not mean them as racist. If you ask me the question, were they racist? I will say, yeah, they sounded racist, but my intention wasn't that. And let me clarify. Let me give you some context. Some of my best friends are different ethnicities. I served a 2-year mission in Korea, and I grew to love that people. I still love that people. I still have contacts with them all the time. What I meant and what I should have said, and you've already referred to, is when we talk about density housing. But let me go back to
Commissioner, I do want to ask you, you just acknowledged that those comments are racist. Is that correct?
But what I meant when I visited with you is that I didn't mean them as racist comments. I didn't speak to be racial like that. So
well,
that's what I meant.
what did you mean by those comments? Then can you explain that to us? What did you mean for somebody to take away from your comments?
Well, let me talk a little bit about a planning commissioner. We're volunteers. We don't send our agendas. Those things come to us from the county departments, the county planners. We're an administrative body, so we don't pass ordinances. We recommend to the commission approval, or we deny recommendation, or we table and we visit about and discuss things, and sometimes things get tabled for months. So we were obligated to argue both sides of any kind of ordinance, amendment, any application that comes in. We're obligated to look at the land use code ordinance, and if it meets that criteria, whether or not we agree with the application, that individual has private property rights and what they want to do, as long as it falls within that land use code, we're obligated to recommend it for approval to the commission. Ultimately, they get to legislate and decide whether or not that's what they want the county to look like, or whether that's appropriate. So we're volunteers. We come from all walks of life. We have different points of view, and in discussions, sometimes we use our own background, and in my case, I was thinking of how densely the populations were in some of the different areas that I've been in, and we were talking about our general plan for the county, which, if you looked into our general plan, it was surveyed. I was part of that process of getting that general plan updated. It was an older plan. In 1998 was when that plan was in place, and we updated it in 22. But that was like a year-long process of surveys, sending out surveys, and agriculture being an important part of our future. There was 94% that were surveyed that says they wanted to actively preserve orchards and farms, prime farmland, farming, ranching. There also, in that general plan, it talked about how and where to put density housing. And multifamily housing, I guess you could look at it from a lot of different points of view, but we didn't put a ban on the entire county. What we did was and there is multifamily housing in the county, but it's within cities and towns, in those boundaries where that infrastructure, the water, all those, impact is so much less. It's just easier to put
and that I think is a very fair argument to have, and that's not really the discussion that we have any problem with. I think that's an interesting conversation to have, as where to grow, how to grow. That's totally fine. Again, when you specified and specifically spoke about Koreans and Mexicans, that's obviously, for me, where it crossed the line. I do wonder, why did you choose those two groups specifically?
Mostly, Dave, when you talk from your familiarity, you talk about things that you understand or have experienced. And it wasn't a negative experience. I love those people. I still love them. And I misspoke. I didn't talk about density housing properly. I'm like I said, I don't hold any animosity to any group or individual. I I love these people, all people. In fact, in the comments that you've been playing, it's not just doesn't specify only two groups. It's like, or I say anybody. And what I should have said, and I maintain, is that we were talking about density housing and where it is appropriate. And when you look at our general plan, the appropriate place for density housing is within cities and towns. And that's what we've done. And it was just to help follow that general plan. That general plan that we have is a great roadmap going forward. In fact, it gives us an opportunity to tweak ordinances and land use codes along the way so that so that roadmap actually becomes something that we do.
But you're running for one of the most powerful, offices and seats in any county government, and that is that you would be in a very important role if elected commissioner to the county commission, which you would be elected, not appointed, as you are now on the planning commission. And having made those comments, how can you ensure that something like this doesn't play into future decisions when you're in a position to create policies and ordinances that affect everybody across Box Elder County?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Debbie. So I've been a planning commissioner for 4 years, and in the process of being that planning commissioner and being that volunteer and serving and being there, taking time out of my month, and some of those planning commission meetings have been, can be very long, especially in public hearings, and that process is very important because the public needs to be heard. And when you talk about multifamily housing, that process went on for months. We had a public hearing, and ultimately, all of the planning commissioners, we recommended that it needed to go to the commission, and that. So it was an open process for everyone to have input. The input process is important. And like I said, I've been doing this for 4 years, and sometimes I don't speak as clearly as I should. In this process, we were trying to weigh and be objective and look at how can we help these individuals, or how these property owners, what can we do to protect private property rights, to help people allow them the opportunity to do with their property what they would like and not infringe on those rights with public good.
And I think, Steve, sorry, we're out of time. Thank you for joining us. It's a fair question to talk about the policies of building in the county. But we appreciate you addressing those comments you made, which, quite frankly, in your own admission, the intent may have not been racist, but the words were racist, to summarize your words. And you've apologized. Thank you for joining us, and we will continue to follow this.
Yeah, we will follow it, of course. The question that we didn't get a chance to ask him was that State Senator Luz Escamilla, who called the show just before he called in, said that she doesn't think he belongs on the Planning Commission. So I'll send him a text during the break and ask him what his response would be to that. Let's you and I talk through what we've just learned, what we've just heard over the last 45 minutes of the show.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
It's first and goal at the 10-yard line with seconds left on the clock. Your running back is poised for a game-winning touchdown, but before you can make the snap, the opposing team just takes the ball and locks it inside a safe? Then they won't give you the combination unless you pay them $10,000? That's how ransomware works. And in 2021, 2 out of every 3 organizations fell victim to ransomware attacks. Protect your business with the Les Olson Security Suite from Les Olson IT. Learn more at lesolson.com.
Attention homeowners considering roof replacement in 2024. Light up your home this June with Master Roofing. Schedule your roof replacement by the end of June and receive a free V-Lux sun tunnel valued at $1,200. Perfect for brightening your bathrooms and hallways. Don't miss out. Visit masterroofingutah.com to schedule your free assessment and claim your free V-Lux sun tunnel. Call 801-383-0072 or visit masterroofingutah.com today. Light up your home with Master Roofing.
Stem cell therapy, revolutionizing the medical industry, changing everything. Find out how stem cells might help you. Meet a stem cell expert who has successfully treated patients with cutting-edge therapies for many years, delivering transformative results and improving countless lives. Hear stories about how stem cells have helped so many people in so many ways and might be right for you. Join others, ask questions, hear about real-life cases. This Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Hyatt in Lehigh. Get your questions answered. Register at eventbrite.com, stem cell therapy, or by calling 866-STEM-EVENT. This is a free event open to anyone who is interested in learning about the wonders of stem cells. This Thursday, 6 p.m. at the Hyatt in Lehigh. Register at eventbrite.com, stem cell therapy, or by calling 866-STEM-EVENT. Call 866-STEM-EVENT.
Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking lot. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com.
With interest rates coming back down, I bet the real estate market will pick back up in 2024. We're already seeing that, Tim.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter how the market is doing when you have the right team. So if you're looking to sell your house, now you want to downsize or you need more space, you need the Stern team.
The Stern team has taught us, I can think of a handful of things that I would worry about if I was buying or selling, but there are 100 details that are involved in selling a home, and they have lots of people that are handling every detail so nothing falls through the cracks.
And they have so many different options. I mean, I worked with Cammie there at the Stern team, and she was awesome. But if you need an instant cash offer, you can do that. If you need to buy before you sell, you can do that. They have flexible fees.
They also have people that they represent that are looking to buy a home, so maybe they can make that perfect connection within the Stern team.
So don't put off selling your house or buying a house because you think the market isn't just right. The market is right with the Stern team.
Go online to sternteam.com or just Google the Stern team.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the Smith Entertainment Group added details to its redevelopment plan for downtown Salt Lake. Second, President Biden on his way back to Europe for the G7 meetings. Third, Israel still getting hit with missiles along its northern border. 84 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Utah's top political story. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
We just got off the line with candidate for Box Elder County Commission, Steve Zollinger. If you missed what he was talking to us about, our producers and editors are working on turning around some of that interview so we can let you hear it again. He was responding to these comments that he made at a July Planning Commission meeting in Box Elder County. This was July of last year.
But I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of Koreans or Mexicans or whoever,
And he apologized for that. He apologized for it the very next month in a planning commission meeting, and he apologized again just barely on our show. Apologies are tricky, right? They never sound the way you want it to sound. I think I want to give some grace, for people that may be frustrated with the way he apologized. But I will say this: apologies mean something. They're important, and as a community, when someone does something wrong, I want to make sure that we have a lot of grace there, where we accept apologies.
So I've spent a significant amount of time in the last couple of weeks listening to the Planning Commission meetings, trying to understand what was going on and what was being discussed at the time that these now candidate Steve Zollinger made these comments. And they were discussing a really important and sweeping ban on multifamily housing in unincorporated areas. That means outside of cities in Box Elder County, which is about an hour or so north of Salt Lake City. I listened for an immediate apology after those comments were made on the meeting. I did not hear one in that meeting. And then when the apology was issued, it seemed to me to be very toned down, saying he was offering a statement of clarification. And this came a month later after those comments were made. And that he would like to apologize to any individual or groups that may have been offended by his prior comments and let them know that sometimes he does misspeak and generalize at times. I spoke to him on the phone last week. We had a more than 20-minute conversation about this, where at the time he told me, when I asked him, what would you say to people who would consider those comments racist? He said, absolutely not, indicating throughout our conversation that he did not believe they were racist. So when he called just a few moments ago, this was the first time I heard him say this.
I did want to clarify some things. When I talked with Debbie last week, she asked me if I meant those comments as racist. That's what I heard, Dave. And I did not mean them as racist. If you ask me the question, were they racist? I will say, yeah, they sounded racist.
And that's an important acknowledgement, that the words were racist, that he understands that. He's clarifying, saying his intent was not racist, but his words were.
Greg Skordas, our KSL legal analyst, you were listening to our interview just a few moments ago with now candidate for Box Elder County Commission. And what was your takeaway, not only from what he just said, but what all he said back in July at that Planning Commission meeting?
Well, I guess you guys are a little more forgiving than I am, only because it's part of my practice, in court and in dealing with police officers and people. You're just so sensitive about this all the time, and you guys are as well. But his apologies are always qualified if I offended anyone. They were not meant to be racist. I mean, there's always something there. And it would just have been so nice. And you guys teed it up so perfectly well for him to say, you know what, that was a terrible thing to say. That was a racist thing to say, but that's not me. But he just wouldn't go that far. He just wouldn't ever say, yes, these were racist remarks. But they were not meant to be. And if I offended someone, I'm sorry. Those are not apologies in my book.
Greg Skordas, KSL legal analyst. Let's talk about the legality of somebody on a planning commission or making recommendations. Perhaps if he is elected as a commissioner, he'll be setting policy. What are some of the things you're looking at as far as the law goes?
Well, unfortunately, the law doesn't really help too much, Dave, but you would expect that he would perhaps take the high road and recuse himself on decisions involving multi-home density and housing in that area, because his objection to that is based on race on a racist argument, and that's not what we want as our public officials to be. So he I think Luz said he shouldn't be running at all. That's maybe extreme, but if he's involved in anything to do with planning or zoning or anything that would have to do to benefit minority communities or anything like that, he should just recuse himself and not be involved in those decisions, because we know where he's going to come out.
Well, and as I drove the Box Elder County area on Sunday, I mean, there is a lot of farmland. There's certainly room for housing growth. I'm not suggesting that all farms be turned into apartment complexes by any means, but I look at that and I think this is ultimately what in my view, their ban is not realistic. And then you couple that with those comments that when I heard them, my jaw dropped. It concerns me, Greg, that there is an undercurrent going on of, banning housing. And then on top of that, well, you don't leave room for people who are of lower income to buy. And, in Commissioner Zollinger's words, Mexicans and Koreans, which is just offensive to me.
No, you're exactly right. And it's in no way reflective of the people of Box Elder County or Brigham City or the surrounding areas or the other elected officials there. I mean, I think that's as open and as welcoming a community as we have in Utah. And so it is surprising that someone who is running for an elected, a very powerful position, as you mentioned earlier, Debbie, has those kind of thoughts and doesn't still today, weeks later, recognize the wrongfulness of those. I mean, maybe there's just some sensitivity training or something that could go on that might help him appreciate the fact that those were, whether they were meant to be or not, those were racist remarks.
Greg Skordas, thank you for joining us, KSL legal analyst.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour. Salt Lake City police searching for a man accused of stealing a car worth $250,000 from the airport. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The owners noticed their 2023 Lamborghini Urus was missing from the short-term airport parking nearly a week after it was stolen. Police say the man was checking car doors inside the airport's garage when he came across the blue Lamborghini, with the doors unlocked and the keys inside. Police are urging anyone with information on the suspect or the car to contact them immediately.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Kids who survived the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut are graduating from high school today. Henry Tarife among them. He was 7 years old when a gunman killed 20 students and 6 teachers. He says he still remembers hearing the gunshots as he fled the classroom. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up 50 points, while the NASDAQ is up over 300 right now. And our KSL weather looks like sunny skies and very hot. That's next. KSL News Time 11:01.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Small business owners, we know tackling your to-do list can sometimes feel like going 12 rounds against a heavyweight champ. Except that heavyweight's gloves are made of something hard, like diamonds. So when a new to-do pops up, you're like, I can't. I'm boxing my diamond boxing glove-wearing heavyweight champ of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy with over 30 customizable coverage options, so you can finally land a knockout blow. See if you can save on business insurance in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Want to save on some of the biggest names in streaming on the network made for streaming? X marks the spot. Now through September 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity Internet for 12 months with a 1-year contract. And for just $15 a month, add the new Stream Saver that includes Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix. That's Xfinity Internet and Stream Saver for just $35 a month. All your favorites all in one place, only from Xfinity. So go ahead and binge some shows, stream some movies, and save some money all at the same time. For more watching and less spending, X marks the spot. Switch to Xfinity, the network made for streaming, and bring on the good stuff. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Internet offer requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Currently $54 a month. Actual speeds vary. Stream Saver requires Xfinity electricity, internet, or TV, and price subject to change.
The IRS deadline has come and gone. So do you owe money to the IRS? If so, you need an ally. Whether you owe the IRS $6,000 or $600,000, whether your tax problems are personal or business, the professionals at Allies Tax Relief are ready to step in and negotiate your fresh start with the IRS. Here's a happy customer of Allies Tax Relief.
Before calling Allies Tax Relief, I feared the IRS would take all of my assets. I owed them over $562,000. Thankfully, I was referred to Allies and called them for help. They ultimately saved my life from uncertainty. Allies negotiated my giant tax debt to an unbelievable $1,500. They are professionals and they fight the fight for their clients.
Allies Tax Relief will protect your assets from being seized and your paycheck from being garnished. Call right now for your free consultation. 800-296-0772. That's 800-296-0772. Or visit AlliesTaxRelief.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Good speeds have returned to northbound I-15 from Sandy into Midvale. The stalled vehicle has been moved out of traffic from that center lane in Sandy, but we still have the final cleanup of this multi-vehicle crash northbound I-15 just after 7200 south. It's over to the right. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hot today and tomorrow, highs near 100. Temperatures start to drop on Friday, and we're looking at a high of just 79 on Monday. Right now, 88 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic have inside sources.
Well, I'm looking in the control room. Are we going to tap into the feed? No, it's not live yet. Oh, I'm excited. If we can get this feed from the International Olympic Committee or any sort of response whatsoever from our Olympic planners here, they're deciding today, the IOC Executive Committee, whether to advance Utah's bid to a final vote in front of the full IOC for the 2034 Winter Olympics, Dave.
And as I've said, if the IOC was in charge of baking bread, it would take 3 months to get one singular loaf baked and produced. My goodness, this is taking so long. They have the most procedures of anyone in the history of the world. We're the only girl at the dance. You have to ask us to dance.
We're just going to let Dave do his shtick until we can get this feed live. But Boyd, I really want to know from you what your inside sources are saying about our you're saying there's a chance they're going to advance Utah's bid to the next level?
If ever you could make a lead pipe lock bet, this is it. This is it. Because no matter what Dave says the process is, the process eventually ends. And when there's only one choice, you can bet on it being the right choice, and it will be Utah for 2034.
So I mean, did you live in Utah in 2002?
We lived in Oregon, but we came down for the Olympics.
Yeah. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
And what did you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was great. I'm obviously a big Olympic geek, and so it is a great thing, and it's one of those great opportunities to bring the world into a place to learn, to have all the connections. And there's actually a lot of great things about it when you get to bring or you get to share a piece of who you are with the rest of the world. And I have long been the proponent of Utah is a crossroads to the world, not just a crossroads to the West. And so I think it does matter. And it's not just what happens during the games. We often get obsessed with what happens during those 16 days. But to me, it's the punch through. It's what happens on the back end that really matters. And it was the one area where Utah really shined coming out of 2002, really showing the world that, hey, you can do this. You don't have to put your country or your economy at risk. You don't have to tax your citizens to death. And you can actually create a space that becomes a value add to the community for the long haul.
And what's interesting, Boyd, is over the years since 2002, you've had kind of two different camps. You've had countries that tried to be very fiscally conservative and others that just blew the budget right out of the gate, and they went billions of dollars into debt to build these. I think of what happened down in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. They had soccer stadiums in disrepair 5 minutes after they were done.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen some lessons that were supposed to be learned, and many countries did not. Though I look at what we did and what we're doing this time around, what do you think is different this go around for us?
So I think this time around we're actually positioned. So last time I think it was kind of a starting in the hole. Remember what was going on? 9/11 had just happened.
Yes.
You had advertisers and sponsors that were bailing. The IOC was threatening to just cancel the games altogether or to move them somewhere else. And the fact that the games not only happened but were so incredibly successful, I don't think any of us give enough in the degree of difficulty score for what Utah pulled off in 2002. I honestly, I believe it saved the Olympic movement. There's no question about it, because it changed the dynamic. And so now here we are in 2034, all of 32 years down the road, and Utah is now positioned as an international force and a place where people look to come for winter recreation, winter sport, as well as business and culture and a host of other things. And so now this is really an opportunity to kind of throw gasoline on that and take it to an entirely different level, because Utah can do things that most of these other countries could not do, because they were starting from scratch in terms of what they were trying to build out or what they were trying to create.
I want to share my take in just a moment, having covered the games from the point they were announced back in 1995 that we would be hosting the games in 2002. And why now we're all 80% in.
79% of Utahns are excited for the Olympics to come back. 79%. In this day and age, it is impossible to get 79% of anybody to agree on anything.
Now, back in the day, there was a lot of concern. It's because we didn't know what we didn't know, and now we know how wonderful it was, and we're getting excited. And so 80% of Utahns, according to this new poll, are all in. Let's go live right now to the feed.
Winter Games 2034. Both are highly experienced hosts of international sports.
Just confirmed, they've announced Salt Lake City will be forwarded. The bid will be forwarded for 2034. Let's continue to listen.
The final decision, will be taken by all IOC members at the 142nd IOC session in Paris from the 22nd to the 24th of July. The French Alps 2030 project has committed to deliver all outstanding guarantees prior to the IOC session. Due to the current political situation in France, the documents could not be finalized before the EB decision. Therefore, today's EB decision on French Alps 2030 is subject to the following being delivered in accordance with the IOC requirements. That means prior to the IOC session, a submission of the Games delivery guarantee by the French government and a final confirmation of a public partnership contribution to the Games organization budget from the two regions of Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes and Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur and the French government. The future host commission is confident that these two preferred hosts represent a great opportunity for successful and sustainable Olympic Winter and Paralympic Games. As the first Olympic Winter Games editions to align with the Olympic Agenda 2020 and 2020+5, from planning to delivery, both projects would achieve significant social, economic, and environmental benefits for their host communities, while building on their existing expertise in hosting international winter sport competitions. These are two very exciting projects and two very different projects as well, which clearly demonstrate that there is no one-size-fits-all model to host Olympic and Paralympic Games for the future. The main opportunities of each project are summarized in a press release will be published on the IOC website shortly. The next step in the process will be a virtual in-camera briefing to all IOC members on the 26th of June. If all requirements are met by the preferred hosts, the IOC session is scheduled to vote on the IOC-EB proposals on the 24th of July.
Thank you very much, Carl. And as Carl said, that press release will be released on IOC.org very, very shortly. Now let's turn to Kit McConnell, who will summarise for you the IOC-EB discussions about the initial sports programme for the Olympic Winter Games 2030 and the approach to the discipline programme. Kit, over to you.
Great. So the big takeaway is that the IOC Executive Committee just announced that Utah's bid for the 2034 Winter Olympic Games will move forward in the process. The next step is a vote by the full IOC.
And as he said, there is no one-size-fits-all approach to hosting the Olympics. And we have seen that over the years, just so many different ways to get there and to produce and to host the Olympics. Having the track record that we do, we know exactly what to do, though this is going to be on a much larger scale. There's 40% more events this time around. That's a huge change.
Here's the announcement we heard just moments ago.
And to propose Salt Lake City, Utah as the host of the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games 2034.
With the final vote being taken on Pioneer Day, ironically.
And you think of those pioneers that came here and went up on this little peak over here, Ensign Peak, and looked out and really said, hey, we'll make this a crossroads to the West and really a crossroads to the world. And so you go all the way back to 1847. And even then, they were looking at bringing the world to this place, and there's no better way to do that than during the Winter Olympics.
What we just heard is a huge moment. Put Utah back on the world stage. The 2002 Games did a very good job of that. Now we're looking at hosting the 2034 Games in a much different time with a lot of experience doing this, Boyd.
Yeah, no question. And to Dave's point, too, that it's also expanded. It's 40% larger, more events, more athletes. So it's not going to be the same. It's one of those elements of if you do something really well one time, you should never do it again. Meaning you shouldn't do what you already did. This is a great jazz musician lesson that I learned last week. A great improv person. They can hit it just perfect. And if they want to be really great at jazz, never do it that way again. You have to keep learning. You have to keep growing. And I think that's what we have to do. We can say, yeah, we did it. We did it incredibly well in 2002, and we shouldn't do 2002 over again. This is about 2034 and doing it different, doing it better, doing it bigger on a very, very big world stage.
Boyd Matheson, thank you. Good luck today. Inside Sources starts at 1, but yeah, big news. Again, inevitable news. It seems like that we take one step closer to getting that Olympic bid. The official one will happen on July 24th.
Next, Dave and I will discuss what this announcement
and to propose Salt Lake City, Utah as the host of the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games 2034
means for Utah. That's next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Howdy, it's Julie from Logan. The price of gas is still outrageous, but thankfully, not all adventures are far and away. Escape to Logan for tons of fun. This Thursday through Saturday, head to Logan for Summerfest Arts Fair, our official kickoff to summer. You'll find 165 artists showcasing jewelry, fine art, crafts, live music, and great food. We've got a gardener's market every single Saturday. Next week, the Lyric Theater kicks off its season with the 1950s and 60s musical review, Shaboom. Chill on Center Street before or after the show and sink your teeth into hand-tossed sourdough pizza, a brew and a burger, hand-dipped chocolates, or delicious goodies from fun cafes. Things just keep getting better because there's so much going on. Don't forget, whenever you come, your hotel is only 10 minutes from the National Forest. Hiking and biking, birdwatching, fishing, and wildflower spying can't be beat. Take gorgeous photos and drink in the stunning scenery. Head to Logan for festivals and fun. You won't break the bank on less than a tank. ExploreLogan.com. ExploreLogan.com.
We're about to bury the needle.
High pressure's going to build back. Another round of high heat will move on in.
And it's only June.
Extra hot, extra early.
Stay updated on the steamy forecast for this week. Get a reliable KSL forecast every 10 minutes on the 9s, mornings and afternoons on KSL News Radio.
My name is Frank Myler, and I approve this ad. My competitors talk a good game about fighting for your rights, but talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. I am the only attorney in this race who has protected religious freedom, freedom of association, freedom of speech, and Second Amendment rights. I defended the Highway Patrol Memorial Crosses as a private attorney, and I did not charge them a dime. I will defend the rights of every Utah citizen, and I'm counting on you for your vote for Attorney General. This ad paid for by the committee to elect Frank Myler Attorney General.
You know, when I was growing up, Tim, I thought I knew things about food. This food was good for you. This food was not good for you. Of course, that all turned out to be completely wrong, which I found out when I got my own nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss. That's SOTA weightloss.com. She is a text away, still to this day, that I can ask her anything. And really, you get like a whole new education, which is what Avery said.
I feel like you're enrolling in like a school of nutrition with a whole new perspective on what food is and what it does for your body. That kind of makes the biggest difference, is it teaches people about food.
So when you go to sodaweightloss.com, you'll see a button right there. It just says request a nutritionist callback. Click on that button.
And here's the other great thing. You're going to save 15% on the program when you do and start that relationship with that nutritionist who becomes your best friend along the way while you reach your goal weight. Again, go to sodaweightloss.com. It's spelled SOTA, and it stands for State of the
Art.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Troy, I'm a bit biased, but I boldly believe Bishop's boasts the best bunch of beloved customers in the business.
That's a bit braggadocious and verbose, but I believe every boast about our beautifully big-hearted brood of RV buying Bishop's family.
Buddy, we are beyond #bless.
Which is why we're throwing a huge customer appreciation sale right now.
We're giving our customers the biggest thank you possible with the lowest pricing of the season that already includes prep and dealer fees.
Get all kinds of new RVs with payments starting under $149 per month on approved credit.
Start shopping now at Bish's RV/RV Search. And how about 90 days of all play, no pay OAC?
You'll also get a free 1-year Bish Fix membership with any RV purchase. Your fast track to RV service repairs.
Plus, we're giving you an additional $1,000 towards your used travel trailer or fifth wheel trade-in now through June 29th.
Don't miss the customer appreciation sale happening now at Bish's RV in Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin.
OAC based on 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock number 79365 and 80972. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, not your typical stolen car. A Lamborghini worth more than $200,000 was stolen from the Salt Lake City airport. Second, high water in the Provo River has closed several river crossings. And third, the kids who survived the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School as first graders are now graduating from high school. 88 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We just heard this announcement from the Executive Committee of the International Olympic Committee announcing that Salt Lake City moves to the next level.
And to propose Salt Lake City, Utah as the host of the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games 2034.
It's also like me telling my daughter that she's my favorite daughter. Because I only have one daughter. Of course she's my favorite daughter. She's my least favorite daughter. That's what we are right now. We are the only person in the family. So, yeah, we're the favorite kid right now.
I would say that this is a really important moment, and it's coupled with another really important announcement that we were talking about in the 9 o'clock hour. So let me break this down for you. It is a 99.99% chance that the Winter Olympic Games, and I cannot believe I'm saying this in my lifetime, are coming back to Utah. In my experience in reporting from 1995, when the announcement was made that we would be getting the 2002 Games, until the Games ended toward the end of February, It was one of the most amazing rides that I've ever been on. And some people, it was an eyeball roll. They couldn't walk out of their homes because the roads were closed down, because we had tents and beer gardens and, restaurants set up in the streets and parties. But there was the torch run that came in through Moab, and I was blessed enough to be able to cover that on a cold winter morning as the sun was rising over Delicate Arch and watching the Olympic torch come into Utah, and then the excitement that unfolded as the torch was run across Utah's landscape and through the streets and the towns where people were coming in droves to cheer on the Olympic torch run. It is coming back to Utah, folks. We are going to know that for sure on July 24th. And it's coupled with this big plan that has been unveiled, and thanks to the reporting of our friend Lindsay Aerts at KSL5 TV, who's given us more of a view of what is going to be going on downtown to rebuild the Delta Center, to make room for NHL hockey, to make a walkable plaza that goes for 2 blocks, to make an underground road so that it can be walkable, so we don't have to fear getting hit by a car, or a driver doesn't have to fear hitting a pedestrian. And then I'll add the trifecta. We'll probably also find out before 2034 if we're getting an MLB team.
Yeah, this is on so many levels monumental, and it will change the way we make policy in this state.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be with an eye toward all of these growth opportunities. And a little bit shocking that sports can play that big of a role. I mean, we are revolutionizing and changing downtown because of sports. And let's be very, very honest about that. I know there's a lot of sports haters out there that do not like sports. They don't want tax dollars going to billionaire owners. But trust me, there's not been a development on the West Side for decades. But once we started talking about Major League Baseball, all of a sudden there's a $3 billion investment going out there. Downtown has needed renovations and redesigns for decades. I mean, they have plans going back to the 1960s of how to fix Main Street and State Street. Nothing changes until a hockey team comes. So sports plays a crucial, even if you're reluctant to admit it, it plays a crucial role in development in the city.
I want to just speak to the hiccup crowd for just a moment. And this is the crowd of folks who will always say, oh, there's a hiccup here and there's a hiccup there and we can't do this and we can't do that. I heard a lot of that as a reporter leading up to the Olympic Games. And we pulled it off. It wasn't without struggles. It wasn't without stumbles. It wasn't without moments where we weren't sure we were going to be able to pull it off. We overcame an Olympic bribery scandal that risked the games, and it certainly risked Utah's image to host the games. We overcame a skating scandal, an ice figure skating scandal here, where there was some allegations about the Russians and who should get the gold medal. Should it go to the Russians or the Canadians? And ultimately they decided it would be a dual gold medal because there was a judging scandal that happened. We actually saw crime go down in this community because we had so many law enforcement officers federally and locally and from across the West come to our aid, because we had to overcome what happened just a few months before the Olympics, which was 9/11. One of the most worst terrorist attack ever on American soil, happening just a matter of months before the Olympics, and the world stopped. It stopped, and we thought the Olympics for Utah would fall apart. They did not. Instead, what happened was an all-hands-on-deck approach. It was a massive beefing up in security. The security would have been security light had we gone with the original plan. And we went to, very widespread, very, magnetometer-driven everywhere you went. The risk of being searched was real. But ultimately, what we had was a safe games and a very successful games that did not cost taxpayers and drain taxpayers because we made revenue from sponsorships and ticket sales.
Well, and there are many things that this games did, not just for our country. I think it was a great healing moment for our country.
Oh, I would agree.
Sports did play a very powerful role. The World Series, I'll never forget President George Bush throwing out that first pitch. I mean, there was some incredible sports moments that helped us collectively heal as a nation. And the Olympics going off without a hitch, without any security concerns, that was wonderful for us.
It made me feel like we could gather again and celebrate again. We could celebrate something because when 9/11 hit, we all know where we were. We all remember how we felt, how helpless we felt when planes stopped flying and we heard nothing in the skies above our homes, when we were fearful of what was next. Would the planes continue to drop from the skies? When would it end? And when I started covering the torch run across Utah, and I diligently followed that flame all over Utah, and I saw people gather on the streets, and you said that sports played a critical role in healing. It took me back to 2002 when I watched the torch go through Delicate Arch. And that moment I felt like we're going to be okay. We are still healing. We are still weeping. We are still feeling the impact, and we will always feel the impact of 9/11. This is a moment, that was the moment when I felt like we're going to be okay. And sports, the Olympic activities, the fun that we had contributed to that, and that cannot be understated.
And it can happen again. We can go bigger and better and have it more impactful. I am excited for it. I think it's a great thing. Yeah, you say there's going to be some hiccups. There's going to be a lot of hiccups that go along, but we will keep plowing forward. We've done it before, and we'll do it again.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bamas. KSL's top story this hour: officials have closed some river crossings along the Provo River because of high water. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has details.
Yesterday, the river was running at nearly 1,600 cubic feet per second. Now, today, we're looking only a little under 1,200 cubic feet, but Provo Parks announced on social media that it is still extremely dangerous to be around the river at this time. Consequently, the undercrossings at Geneva Road, Frontrunner, and 2230th North will be closed until further notice. Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Biden is on his way to Europe for the G7 summit in Italy, where world leaders will discuss major issues, including the war in Gaza and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Biden expected to meet with Ukraine's president tomorrow on the sidelines of the summit. White House officials say both presidents expected to sign a security agreement between the United States and Ukraine. Your money at this moment: the Dow Jones average up just 17 points, while the NASDAQ is up 309 right now. And our KSL weather is going to stay hot. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
You know Master Electrical Services, but we have some exciting new news. They've joined Mountain Home Services.
Yeah, and you can speak from experience about Mountain Home Services.
Yeah, they installed my furnace years ago. You know them as Mountain Air. It's all part of a big group now, Mountain Home Services, and our furnace was fantastic.
Master Electrical Services has been your trusted source for all your electrical needs, your EV chargers, your generators, the recessed lighting, the ceiling fans. And Dave and I have been talking about Master Electrical for quite some time. Well, now, as you said, Dave, they've joined Mountain Home Services.
And what that means is they can now help you with your HVAC stuff, heating and air, plumbing, all of that. It's one-stop shopping, friends.
Yeah, and that upfront pricing guarantee, There's still an upfront pricing guarantee and no hidden fees.
100% satisfaction guarantee. Master Electrical Service has been the name you trust since 1954. Now, you know them as Mountain Home Services.
So, how do you get a hold of Mountain Home Services and get that upfront pricing guarantee? All you need to do is go to mountainhomeutah.com. That's mountainhomeutah.com.
Or give them a call at 801-543-2222. So easy to remember that number, 801-543-2222.
It's back, and you will be too, June 13th through the 15th at the Cache County Fairgrounds. It's the Summerfest Arts Fair, celebrating its 40th anniversary, featuring local and regional artists and musicians. You're gonna love this, like you loved it before. Art, painting, ceramics, music, food. Summerfest Arts Fair is loaded with all the things you and the family love the most. Then get set for an amazing lineup of musicians featuring headliners the Lonely Hearts Club Band, Wildwood, and the Solistics. Plus, enjoy other regional musicians like Highline Drifters and Fry Pan Band. This is where local, regional, and national artists come together to celebrate the arts. So discover 165 artist booths, 38 performing groups, and 30 food vendors, along with a plein air art competition. Get full details at logansummerfest.org. logansummerfest.org. Summerfest Arts Fair, June 13th through the 15th at the Cache County Fairgrounds. Get full details at logansummerfest.org.
It's blockbuster season at Megaplex Theaters. Make some magical movie memories this weekend with a trip to Megaplex Theaters. Enjoy great food, tasty snacks, and of course, amazing Megaplex popcorn. It's time to celebrate with family and friends with the newest and nicest luxury recliners on the biggest screens at Megaplex Theaters. Megaplex movie tickets are on sale now for the movie with all the feels, Inside Out 2. Details and tickets at megaplex.theaters.com. Celebrate blockbuster season at Megaplex Theaters.
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son.
On September 12, 1995, McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas.
There was no sign of forced entry. It was just as if McKay had walked out of his own free will.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, feels that justice was never truly served. Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Well, crews are still working on this crash in Midvale, northbound to I-15, just after 7200 south. All of the vehicles that once had really tied up traffic are now over to the shoulder, and crews will be there on the scene for a little bit longer. But all of your Valley freeways looking good, including north and southbound I-15 between Willard Bay and Utah Lake. Lagoon is Utah's home for summer fun. Get all the fun and excitement at Lagoon. Great rides, games, and adventure open daily. Visit lagoonpark.com for hours and to purchase tickets. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Weather will be hot today and tomorrow with highs near 100. Temperatures start to drop on Friday. We're looking at a high of 79 on Monday. Right now, 90 degrees already and partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
We know that the president's son, Hunter Biden, could face up to 25 years in prison. We know that he was convicted. Jury made that announcement yesterday on 3 felony counts of illegally purchasing a gun. What I did not know is the sordid tales of his drug addiction, of how this has just destroyed the Biden family.
And I think this is an American story. This is something that families in Utah, in your community, all across the country, they've lived this. And it was heartbreaking. You know, it's so easy to politicize everything, and Hunter Biden has plenty of warts outside of his addiction. But quite frankly, when I was listening to this story and hearing how his family and how he has dealt with this addiction and how it has torn their lives apart, I had a lot of compassion because a lot of families have gone through this exact same story.
Well, okay. So as I'm listening to this, I'm going to ask for your guidance on if you feel like my reaction to this is the right reaction. As I'm listening to the story on the New York Times podcast, as I'm reading the story in Politico, I'm seeing a family of, 8 family members at any one time in the courthouse with him, like in support of him, including First Lady Jill Biden. A story of a mom. His mom was killed. The president's wife was killed in a car wreck in the 70s, along with their 1-year-old daughter. And so Jill Biden has raised Hunter. And then Beau passes away of brain cancer, right, in 2015. So you have this family that has been through such tragedy, and here they are sitting in the courtroom rallying around Hunter. And when I started to hear what he has dragged them through the testimony from family members that were called to be witnesses, I was like, throw the book at him. It's been a horrible journey for his ex-wife, his girlfriend, who I just figured out was Beau, his brother's wife, Beau's widow. He starts dating her after his divorce. So his ex-wife testifies. I'll just walk you through this, Dave. Let me start with his ex-wife. She takes the stand. 24 years they're married. And she just talks about her struggles with trying to get him into recovery, into therapy, to make him stop stepping out on her and having affairs. And she finally, they divorce. And then he starts dating Beau's widow and draws her, according to testimony, into drug addiction. And they're doing crack cocaine together. I mean, it's insane, right?
Well, and it was heartbreaking to have this laid out for the rest of the world to hear, right? I mean, the worst moments, your dirtiest laundry, just being put out for the entire world. It's headlines across the country, and to have those worst moments and have people that you love around describe what they've been through, it was painful to listen to that. Painful.
Well, and then there's testimony that says that, Beau's widow and him, they're now dating. Okay, so now his girlfriend they're out buying crack cocaine together, and then he's disappearing on her. She's the one that finds the gun in the car. So it's hidden somewhere in the car, or it's being kept in the car, and then panics and text messages, text exchanges. She throws the gun away or something like. So now, he's been accused of illegally purchasing a gun. Now, I don't know that she knew all of those details before she panicked. But maybe she did. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she knew that he couldn't have a gun because he was addicted to drugs at the time and lied on a federal form to obtain this gun. And I don't know why did he need the gun? Do we know that?
No, that's one part of the question that I don't think was ever really addressed in detail is why did you have a gun? Was he feeling suicidal? Was he trying to protect himself? There's a number of reasons why he could have had a gun, but it really wasn't laid out.
I was just hearing this, I like, okay, maybe I'm showing too much compassion when I say, he'll probably get a year and we shouldn't, drug addiction is, a lot of people suffer from that for a lot of different reasons, and we need to be conscientious about how we help them and give them hope. And now I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, this is a lifestyle. This became a lifestyle, and dragging the family through this as they're trying to help him heal. This is a pivotal moment for me. As I was listening to this on a podcast today, Dave, I was driving into Broadcast House and I started to cry. His daughter took the witness stand, and she testified that, her dad was getting better, because the justification for the defense was, well, he wasn't really addicted at the time when he signed that form. even though it had been years, right? But the defense is trying to put on a defense to get him off on these charges. And so she's one of their witnesses, and she's like, yeah, he was getting better, but then the prosecution comes back with text messages she'd exchanged with her father, like, at the time that this was going on, like, where are you, Dad? I'm so sick and tired of it. I can't deal with this anymore. And it sounds like her testimony did not go as planned. And I thought, what a horrible spot that you just put your child in through these years of addiction, because the crack cocaine was more important than your family.
Well, and all of this could have been spared had he accepted a plea deal. He refused to. So he decided to fight it in court, which required all of this detailed testimony from family members, from loved ones. And you could see it was a brutal round of testimony, very damning and incriminating for him. And he was found guilty on all 3 accounts.
Yeah. We'll continue to follow that. We don't know, how much time he will get, but according to those 3 counts he was convicted on, he could face up to 25 years. Our legal analyst, Greg Skordas, has said he'll probably get a year based on, the math and the matrix that the federal system uses. But, of course, we'll follow that. Straight ahead, we got just devastating news here yesterday afternoon, Dave, shortly after we left the studio, that our really good friend, Steve Klauke, the voice of the Salt Lake Bees. He's the only voice of the Salt Lake Bees that will ever ring in my head.
Ian Wong driving one over the head of Jared Kelnick out in right center field to bring home
he was hit and killed while on a walk. I just saw Steve. I was graciously, he'd invited me to his retirement party last year because he was retiring as the voice of the Bees. He was going to go be with his family. And then this week we got word that he was killed while on a walk. And I'm sick about it. Our good friend, KSL5 Television's Alex Cabrero, is going to join us next with what he knows about this car accident.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
If you have struggled like I have over the years of losing weight, let me tell you about Salt Lake City Fat Loss. It's a program that I joined months ago, and they said, we can teach you the secret to losing up to a pound of fat every single day. And that is exactly what happened. I thought they were being super optimistic. Many clients will lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. I lost 57 pounds in just 2 months, and I cannot believe how quickly it came off in just a matter of weeks. I know in the first 3 weeks I had lost 25 pounds. When I saw these incredible results, I was able to stay motivated. I stayed on program. I didn't cheat at all. And I paid for the program like you guys do as well. So this wasn't just something that was given to me. I invested in my health, and I'm so grateful I did. No surgery, no injections, no prepackaged meals. Get a free consultation and learn for yourself what Salt Lake City Fat Loss can do for you to help lose weight. Go to slcfatloss.com. It's a great way to find out more about the program. Schedule that free consultation at slcfatloss.com.
Remember that first paycheck when you started working all those years ago? You looked at the net amount and thought, whoa, what happened here? Ah, the joy of taxes. It could be this way with your retirement accounts. You know how much you've saved, but if you haven't planned for Uncle Sam, you could come up short in retirement. With tax laws constantly changing, there's a lot you need to know to make sure you're not paying more than your fair share. Mike Stevens and the team at Capital Wealth Advisors can help you create a plan that shows you how taxes could affect you now and in the future. Set up your tax strategy session with Mike Stevens and Capital Wealth Advisors now. Call 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. Make sure you know how these changes could affect you so you can avoid some of those whoa moments in retirement. Call 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
The Utah RV Palooza is back and packed with new and used RVs to fit every budget. June 20th through the 22nd, come to the largest free RV show in the area at the shops at Southtown and Sandy. You'll find monthly payments starting under $149 on approved credit for select new RVs like a new 2024 GoPlay 19BH travel trailer. You'll also find huge savings on used motorhomes. We've got select 2023 and 2024 low mileage models from Thor and Jayco heavily discounted. The best deals don't last, so start shopping now at Bishes.com/Utah RV Palooza Sandy. And make sure you tour the full lineup of GoPlay travel trailers, one of the fastest growing RV brands in Utah. Get special financing options like 90 days of all play and no pay OAC. And if you've got a trade, we want it. Get an additional $1,000 towards your travel trailer or fifth wheel trade-in. See dealer for details. Admission is free to the Utah RV Palooza, Thursday, June 20th through Saturday, June 22nd at the shops at Southtown and Sandy. Sponsored by Bish's RV. Stock number L75163. Based on 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details.
Attention homeowners considering roof replacement in 2024. Light up your home this June with Master Roofing. Schedule your roof replacement by the end of June and receive a free V-Lux sun tunnel valued at $1,200. Perfect for brightening your bathrooms and hallways. Don't miss out. Visit masterroofingutah.com to schedule your free assessment and claim your free V-Lux sun tunnel. Call 801-383-0072 or visit masterroofingutah.com today. Light up your home with Master Roofing.
How long have you been dealing with joint pain in, say, a hip or a shoulder or maybe even your back? And how many things have you tried to make it better, and yet it seems like it's getting worse, and now it may even be risking not being able to do the things you love to do in the outdoors as we start to head to summer? May I suggest you look into QC Kinetics? It's the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, and they have lasting joint pain relief for some with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime, and they have arrived in Salt Lake City. So why would you put it off any longer? They have free consultations right now that could get you back to walking, running, hiking, even playing golf, and being able to move again pain-free. Wouldn't it be worth just getting some answers? Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility, and you can find them now in Mill Creek, Provo, and Bountiful. Call QC Kinetics today. 385-766-1987. That's 385-766-1987.
Attention pet parents. Tired of being a doorman to your furry friends? Say hello to Utah's own Pet Door products. Your ticket to convenience and freedom. Visit petdoorproducts.com. That's petdoorproducts.com.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Mill Creek City Lifestyle is a community-focused multimedia magazine that aims to be a conduit for the people, places, and things that make the Mill Creek area special. Owner and publisher Julie Janke joins us with more.
At Mill Creek City Lifestyle, we believe that stories are the common thread that unite us. They engage us through emotions and connect us to each other. And that's why our goal is to tell the story of our community as it grows and evolves. Our multimedia magazine is not just a printed publication, but an effective digital platform and social media outlet to showcase your business's story in an authentic way. Each issue of Mill Creek City Lifestyle has a different editorial theme, and layered along the pages are unique features that showcase the cool things happening in our community. The beautifully designed magazine is meant to be a coffee table piece created from the common thread of lifestyle, outdoor to indoor. So if your business is seeking to expand your clientele, visit citylifestyle.com/Mill Creek to let us tell your story. It's not just a magazine, it's a movement.
Whether you're a local business owner, community member, or visitor looking to learn more about the area, Mill Creek City Lifestyle has something for you. Learn more at their website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Dave and Dujanovic.
I'm just devastated. We got the word yesterday, Dave, and I smacked you on the arm, basically. I was like tapping you, you were talking to somebody else in a meeting, and I'm like, Dave, I just got the news, the worst news of all, that Steve Klauke has passed away. And you and I are both very good friends and have been for years with Steve, the voice of the Bees.
Ian Wong driving one over the head of Jared Kelnick out in right center field.
He spent 29 years broadcasting, nearly 4,200 Bees games. He's the only voice I knew for the Salt Lake Bees, Stingers, you name them, the Buzz. won Broadcaster of the Year multiple times. But, yeah, Steve, I love baseball. You love baseball. Steve made me love baseball even more.
He would say things. It's like his mind was a computer of baseball facts and information. I had the honor of being with him and his family for his retirement, which was hosted at Smith's Ballpark just a few months ago. He was retiring from the Bees. He secretly leaned in and told me that he hoped the organization would give him and his wife lifetime passes to go see the Bees as they head out to South Jordan. And Alex Cabrera, here we are, not even a year from his retirement, and he's killed in an auto pedestrian accident in Sandy the other night. It's just devastating.
Oh, Debbie, this one hits hard. And it hits difficult for all of us, not only who love baseball, but just like, Steve was one of the good guys. He was always friendly, as you mentioned. I've done plenty of live shots at Smith's Ballpark with the Bees and such, and if you got there early enough, there was Steve just walking around the plaza, getting his exercise in, always stopped to make sure, do we have everything? Do we have a bottle of waters or anything he can help us with? Just a genuinely good guy, Debbie. And, I was chatting with Sandy Police yesterday. This happened Monday evening at 106 South and 13th East, and he was just crossing the road. He was walking on 106 South and was crossing 13th East when a car turning onto 13th it ran into him and critical injuries and he ended up dying from those injuries. And look, the driver stopped, got out, called 911, was there with police, answered all the questions, is cooperating, and no signs of impairment on the driver's part at this time. The investigation is still going on. Police say they're doing a full reconstruction. They're talking to witnesses. They're pulling more surveillance footage from the area just to, do all the work necessary in an investigation like this. But this could also just be a tragic accident where the driver didn't see Steve and ran into him.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking in so many ways, Alex. But there was no indication whether what may have happened. Was it distraction? Perhaps the sun, shining into their face. Was there any indication of that?
Right. All of those are possibilities, Dave. We just don't know yet. And police say no charges have been filed at this point. They're not releasing that driver's name, but he has been fully cooperating. He was a 64-year-old man that ran into Steve Klauke and fully cooperated. It could have been the sun that time at night. We don't know just yet. Could have been distracted on a cell phone or going to your radio. Who knows? But if it was just the sun, just a tragic accident. It's absolutely devastating and awful.
Well, just to me, Alex, and I know, you knew Steve too, and so did Dave. The idea that he's worked so hard for so many years to bring so much joy to so many of us, and like you said, he's like an angelic human being. Right. I got a text, and by the way, Alex, not from you, I got a text on my birthday from Steve Klauke. And it's, my birthday this year was on a Sunday. I mean, that's how amazing this man was and thoughtful he was. And it's so tragic that here he went through his whole life bringing so much joy to so many of us, that he loses his life less than a year outside of retirement to something just completely out of the blue.
Right. Absolutely. And I know he was looking forward to spending more time with his family. That's part of the retirement. He says, hey, I can still call baseball games, but I'm getting up there, and maybe now is the time to spend more time with family. And he was really looking forward to that. And I saw him opening day at the Bees Stadium. I saw him with the Bees announcement down in Daybreak, and he was just so happy to be entering this next phase of his life. And that's not to say he didn't like baseball. We all know he loved baseball. He loved what he did. But family and friends were important to him, and he was so looking forward to doing that. And you're right. I think just the timing that he didn't even have a full year of that, it just makes you appreciate the time that you have, doesn't it, Debbie?
Yeah, I thought that a lot. I was also just it's just so grateful to know such a wonderful, wonderful person. Alex, thanks so much for jumping on the line with us. We always appreciate you. Our good friend Alex Cabrera of KSL5 Television, bringing us some insights about Steve Klauke, the voice of the Bees, killed in just a tragic accident out in Sandy while walking on Monday night.
And we know him as the voice of the Bees, but he was also the voice of Weber State football and basketball as well. So the Weber State community knows Steve so extremely well. He was so integrated into the community, loved sports. I was looking through when I heard of his passing. I went back to my text threads to kind of look at some of our old exchanges. Yeah. And I remember we were up in Pocatello, Idaho, and I texted Steve. I said, "Hey, is there a good place to eat in Pocatello, Idaho?"
Oh, because he travels all over.
He travels all over the place. He kind of did a diners, drive-ins, and dives kind of thing. Yeah, he did that. So we hit him up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you got to go to Buddy's Italian." He's like, "My wife and I were there Friday night." I'm like, "All right, what's your go-to dish?" He's like, "The clam Alfredo." Great.
Oh, he has it. He had the menu item even.
So there you go. He's like meatball sub and clam Alfredo.
Oh, well, Steve, we're a wonderful human being. I'm so sorry that your life was so abruptly cut off. I do know something about Steve, and that he would want everybody to go to the baseball park and take in a game in his honor and in his memory, guaranteed. And I'll be there. I'll be there at Smith's Ballpark, and I'll be there. I'm going to make a commitment to be there opening day when the new stadium opens next year in daybreaks, just specifically for Steve.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 12 o'clock. This is Utah's Noon News. I'm Amy Kobabe, filling in for Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story this hour. We're going to be pushing 100 degrees both today and tomorrow. National Weather Service meteorologist Linda Chang says part of the reason why they've issued a heat advisory is because we normally don't actually see these temperatures like this until early July.
Sure, in July, I mean, we'll probably see some 100-degree temperatures in July, and that's, kind of typical, but this early in the year, they're not quite acclimated.
The heat advisory is in place until Friday morning, but temperatures will start to drop a little on Friday. We could be back to the low 80s by Sunday. The heat and high water flows at the Provo River have led to several emergencies and multiple rescues in the last 4 days. KSL News Radio's Andrew Gordon begins our team coverage on river dangers.
At least 7 emergency incidents, including 2 drownings, have occurred at several locations on the Provo River. At Deer Creek, a family's boat sank and 2 children went missing while paddleboarding. They have been found safe and wearing their life jackets. Another woman broke her leg while paddleboarding on Soldier Creek, and a kayaker may have broken his leg when he flipped over on Monday. Peak flow is still several weeks out, so officials are urging people to avoid rivers and waterways. Andrew Gordon, KSL News Radio.
Several undercrossings along the Provo River are closed after flooding. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit continues our team coverage.
The river is running at 1,170 cubic feet per second as of today. This has led to closures at the Geneva Road, Frontrunner, and 2230th North undercrossings. The Canyon Glen Bridge is also closed, and Wilderness Park is flooding.
Those crossings will be closed until the levels go back down. A Box Elder County Planning Commission member is addressing a controversial comment he made last year as he hopes to become a county commissioner. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
In a planning commission meeting last July, Steve Zollinger was recorded saying this.
I don't think we want a whole big area of a whole bunch of Koreans or Mexicans or whoever.
He did make an apology about a month later, but about a month after that, the Planning Commission unanimously passed a ban on construction of new multifamily housing in unincorporated areas of the county. Today on Dave and Dujanovic, Zollinger says he misspoke when he made those comments.
I did not mean them as racist. If you ask me the question, were they racist? I will say, yeah, they sounded racist. but my intention wasn't that.
He says he was trying to speak about concerns on population density, not any one group of people. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
And we'll have more with Debbie Dujanovic coming up in 15 minutes on that. Tonight, the candidates for Utah's 3rd Congressional District will take to the debate stage. KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez has a preview of what to expect.
Tonight's debate stage will be crowded to say the least. Republican candidates J.R. Byrd, John Dougal, Mike Kennedy, Case Lawrence, and Stuart Pay are all competing to see who takes the seat left vacant since Representative John Curtis is running for U.S. Senator. If the Republican convention is anything to go off of, Mike Kennedy is seen as a favorite after winning 6 rounds of voting to secure his spot.
You can listen in to tonight's debate live